Chapter 131. Back at Anina's house, Charlotte went up to the second floor and opened the door of the room she mentioned. Then he found that the room Anina arranged for him was actually her room. Her pajamas were on the bed, and her slippers were beside the bed. The room was full of warm elements, pink chandeliers, teddy bears, and so on. It looked like the room of a 17 or 18-year-old girl, not a mature woman's room. Charlotte stood at the door and looked at it. He smiled bitterly and said, "I didn't expect a workaholic woman to have such a warm and lovely side. Also, how could she let me sleep in her room? It's not appropriate. I'd better find another room." Charlotte left Anina's room and found another room. He took a shower in the bathroom in the room. When he was about to go to bed, he suddenly found a woman sitting beside the bed. This woman was not Anina, who had just returned from the police station, but Long Bing. When he saw her, Charlotte exclaimed and hurriedly reached out to cover his important parts. Then he rushed to his pants on the bedside table. Anina, who was far away in the police station, had no time to prepare a bath towel for him. During the whole process, Long Bing just looked at Charlotte quietly and expressionlessly. When Charlotte reached out to cover his something, her eyelids didn't even blink, as if she had seen a cucumber or something. "You?" Charlotte hurriedly squatted beside the bed and put on his briefs. He complained, "Why didn't you knock on the door?" "I didn't know you were taking a shower," Long Bing said lightly. Charlotte looked at her gloomily and didn't know what to say to her. Long Bing said, "I seem to have come late and missed a gunfight." Charlotte heard the dissatisfaction in her tone. He braced himself and said, "I've already taken care of it. There won't be any more trouble." "What do you want me to say to you?" "You have to remember that we are here to carry out a mission, not to pick up girls." "Charlotte, I've reminded you time and time again not to get into trouble, but you actually became enemies with the local gangs for a woman. If this goes on, we might be targeted by German or American intelligence before we can complete our mission. Do you want to go to jail in Europe or America?" Long Bing continued to lecture. Charlotte forced a smile and said, "I know what we're doing. You don't have to remind me often. I'm not cut out for your line of work, and I'm not prepared to become the cold-blooded and heartless person you expect me to be, who will do anything to complete my mission. She treats me as a friend. How can I not help her when she's in danger?" Long Bing glared at Charlotte, looking like she wanted to give him a kick. Charlotte shrugged. "It's no use glaring at me. I have my own way. Besides, I've gained something from knowing Anina. I've already gotten what we wanted." Long Bing was stunned for a moment. "What did you get?" "Anina has a friend named Joseph. He lives nearby. He's a very good electrical engineer, and he's working on an intelligent machine tool. I saw the machine tool just now. It's indeed the most advanced machine tool in the world." Charlotte told her about Joseph, including how Joseph got shot. "You actually used a pair of tweezers to remove the bullet from his body?" Hearing Xia Lei's words, Long Bing's interest in the AI machine tool suddenly waned. Charlotte said, "I had no choice but to do that. There's still a part of the machine tool that hasn't been completed. The most crucial part, the CNC program, hasn't been created yet. It has to be completed by Joseph. If he dies, who will complete the machine tool?" "Did you find the blueprints?" Long Bing's attention was once again drawn to the mission by Charlotte. Charlotte said, "I found the blueprints of the machine tool in his warehouse, including the circuit blueprints. I took a photo with my phone. I'll give you the memory card, and you can look at it when you get back. Just the things I got tonight should be enough for you to complete your mission." He took his phone out of his pocket, removed the memory card, and handed it to Long Bing. Then, he handed the box of soap to Long Bing. Long Bing looked at the box of soap curiously. "Why did you give me a bar of soap?" Charlotte said, "There's a key mold on the bar of soap. Take it back with you. I needed to make a key. That key can open the door to Joseph's warehouse." Long Bing's face finally softened a little. She put away the memory card and the soap box, then looked at Charlotte. "Aren't you going back with me tonight?" Charlotte said, "Anina went to the police station to help with the investigation. She asked me to stay. I also want to know about the police station and Joseph's situation, so I won't go back." Long Bing's lips suddenly curled into a strange smile. "Don't tell me you've fallen for that German woman? What nonsense are you talking about? I'm doing this to complete the mission." Charlotte said, "If I have a good relationship with her, I'll be able to understand Joseph's situation from her. Once Joseph finishes the machine tool design, I'll immediately steal it, and then we can report back. Isn't that great? Think about it. This is the only intelligent machine tool in the world. We could get all the information about it before it's released. Don't you know how significant this is? All right, I'll send the blueprints you got back as soon as possible. If it's really as you said, our trip to Germany this time will be very beneficial to the whole country. The higher-ups won't forget your contributions. I don't want any contributions, Charlotte said. All right, good job. I'm going back now. It won't be good if your German girlfriend sees us. What do you mean? Charlotte was very depressed. He felt that Long Bing wasn't a person who liked to talk nonsense. Long Bing said indifferently, I'm your wife. You're spending the night at another woman's house. Can I say a few words to you? Charlotte didn't say anything else. Will you sleep with her? Long Bing suddenly asked. Charlotte rolled his eyes at her. Aren't you looking down on me too much? Am I that kind of person? I'll sleep with you on the same bed. Didn't I do nothing to you? She's not suitable for you. Trust me. After saying this, Long Bing walked out the door. When she left, she closed the door. She came in mysteriously and left without a sound. She was like a shadow that was attached to Charlotte. Fortunately, Charlotte was already used to her style. Otherwise, he would have a heart attack. Long Bing had already left, but Charlotte was still staring blankly at the closed door. He was stunned for a long time before he said, Anina isn't suitable for me? Does she know better than I do? If Anina isn't suitable for me, then who is suitable for me? A person who doesn't even have a girlfriend actually wants to teach me how to fall in love? It's so strange. After handing over the things to Long Bing, Charlotte had one less hidden danger. He quickly relaxed. He lay in bed thinking about things. Perhaps it was because he had overused his X-ray ability, but his head was dizzy. After a few minutes, he fell asleep. He didn't know how long he slept. In a daze, he felt something crawling on his body. He subconsciously reached out to scratch, but unexpectedly grabbed something very elastic. Before he could open his eyes, his lips were also blocked. Then a moist and soft thing crawled into his mouth like a mischievous loach swimming in his mouth. He opened his eyes abruptly and saw the face right in front of him. It was Anina's face. Anina only stopped kissing Charlotte when she found that Charlotte had woken up. She looked at Charlotte with a smile. You're awake. You didn't know that you slept like a little pig. I went to bed, but you didn't wake up. Charlotte wanted to get up, but Anina pressed him down and didn't let him move. Anina said again, I know what you want to ask me. The police have investigated clearly. Those guys deserve to die. They didn't even have the right to enter the church for a funeral. By the way, you may not know that the reason why those opportunities appeared here was because Joseph's friend, Hans, made a phone call. Charlotte said in surprise, How is that possible? Anina said, Why is it impossible? The police found Hans' number in the mobile phone of the gang leader, Navis, and got the content of the call for the telecommunications operator. What kind of people are they? I just defeated him, and he wants us to die. It's so vicious. Charlotte sighed. If Anina hadn't told him about it, he probably wouldn't have known how Navis appeared here for the rest of his life. Not all people are as good as you, Anina said with a smile. Also, I went to the hospital to see Joseph. He has been operated on and has now woken up. I told him that it was you who saved him. He was very ashamed and asked me to pass on his gratitude and apology to you. Charlotte said, It's okay. It's good that he's fine. I have told you everything you want to know. Anina suddenly stopped talking. She stared at Charlotte, and there seemed to be an invisible flame in her blue eyes. She was quietly burning herself, and she was ready to ignite Charlotte. Charlotte knew what she wanted to do. It was also something he was worried about and hesitated about. In the face of a beauty like Anina, his body would definitely vote for her, but his reason would vote against it. For him, it was fine as long as they remained close friends, but once they became a couple, he would have to leave Germany eventually. If he just walked away at that time, wouldn't he be dumping her after playing with her? He couldn't do such a thing. Do you like me to take the initiative? Seeing that Charlotte didn't move, Anina said tentatively, I can. Then, her hand slid down from Charlotte's chest and grabbed the elastic band. When he felt that the cloth was about to be pulled off, Charlotte suddenly grabbed Anina's hand and said nervously, Anina, I'm sorry, I have a wife. Ah, Anina was stunned. Charlotte said, "Her name is Laura. She's also in Germany. We live in a rented house." Anina's eyes were full of disappointment and sadness. She said sourly, "She must be very beautiful, right?" "She is very beautiful," Charlotte said. But Anina suddenly hugged Charlotte tightly and kissed his cheeks and lips passionately. She gasped and said, "I want to take you away from her." Charlotte was able to maintain a trace of reason, but at this time, that trace of reason was destroyed by his body in the blink of an eye. But just when he was about to take the initiative, there was a sudden bang on the roof. The two people on the bed were shocked. "What's that?" Anina said nervously. "Could it be that those bad guys came again? I'll go out and have a look." Charlotte put on his clothes and went out. He actually wanted to take the opportunity to calm down. Staying in the same bed with such a sexy beauty like Anina, not to mention him maintaining his ridiculous reason, perhaps even a Buddhist disciple, would become her captive. Charlotte walked out of the room, stood in the corridor, and looked up at the roof. His left eye twitched slightly. Suddenly, he saw a woman sitting on the roof. That woman was not someone else. It was Long Bing, who said she would leave, but didn't. Long Bing held a stone in her hand and was ready to hit it again at any time. Charlotte suddenly became dumbfounded. "Lucas, what did you find?" Anina poked her head out from the door. Charlotte's reaction became slow. Nothing at all. Maybe it's a cat." Anina smiled. "That must be a naughty kitten. Come back." Charlotte didn't move. Anina slowly stretched one of her arms out from the door. She was holding a piece of black lace in her hand. Her fingers shook slightly, and that piece of lace suddenly left her fingers. It lightly flew towards Charlotte and fell on his foot. Charlotte was about to go crazy. There was a fierce tiger above and a vixen below. As a man, was there any way to survive? Was there any way to survive? "Lucas, what are you waiting for?" Anina had a charming smile on her face. She slowly stretched one of her beautiful legs out from the door. She exposed it little by little, but didn't expose the most mysterious part. Such a temptation could make a bent steel bar straighten, and it could also make a monk take the initiative to renounce asceticism. Charlotte squinted at the stairs beside him. He suddenly gritted his teeth, and then his body tilted and rolled down the stairs. Chapter 132. The gang shooting incident calmed down, and the thrilling days seemed to be gone forever. The following days passed by peacefully. Charlotte went to work at the factory every day and went home on time. Other than working and sleeping, he spent all his time learning electrical engineering, and his reference was the smart machine tool that Joseph was researching. Every time Charlotte learned a little bit of electrical engineering, he would refer to the circuit structure of the smart machine tool that he memorized with his left eye to understand the meaning and purpose of the circuit's existence. In this way, it was equivalent to him redesigning and building the smart machine tool after Joseph. His mind was no longer filled with drawings drawn on paper, but with real things. The days were peaceful and fulfilling, but there was also a little trouble. This trouble was Anina. After experiencing a series of events, even though she knew that he was a man with a wife, she still didn't give up. She waved the hoe like a gust of wind. It was actually understandable for her to be like this. One day, a woman suddenly met a man who was willing to smash the head of a gunman with a brick and risk his life to save her. Moreover, this man was quite good-looking and gentle. How could she be willing to miss out on such a wonderful and magical encounter? Even if he had a wife, there were still many divorces in this world. As long as you waved the hoe well, there was no wall you couldn't dig. This was a popular saying in China, and it seemed to be very suitable for Anina, and that was exactly what she did. "Lucas, don't move," Anina suddenly said to Charlotte in front of the engine of a Leopard 2 tank. Charlotte, who was twisting a screw, raised his head and looked at Anina with a confused expression. "What?" Anina suddenly took off her gloves, took a white towel from around her neck, and then came over to wipe Charlotte's face. While wiping, she said, "There's engine oil on your face. Let me help you wipe it." Charlotte said awkwardly, "I'll do it myself." Don't move. What's wrong with me helping you wipe it?" Anina squatted on top of the tank's engine. Her blue denim skirt suddenly opened up, and deep within her snow-white thighs was a purple scenery. That shape, ripe and sexy, deliciously enticing. Charlotte was embarrassed to the extreme. He was too embarrassed to stare at her, but she was wiping his face. He couldn't possibly turn his face to the side and let her wipe his ears, right? What was even more unbearable was that Anina had sprayed a very strange perfume on her body. That kind of fragrance was very provocative. Coupled with her gentle movements and the warm air she breathed through her nostrils, all these factors gathered together. For Charlotte, this wasn't enjoyment at all. It was simply torture. Moreover, this kind of thing happened almost every day, more than once. This was the 30th day since Joseph was shot. Charlotte couldn't remember how many times Anina had hinted to him, nor could he remember how many times she had tried to be nice to him. Originally, he didn't have such strong willpower to persist until now, but ever since that night, when Long Bing climbed to the roof of Anina's house and knocked the tiles with stones, she would always appear at very critical moments. Under these circumstances, how could he dare to be happy with Anina? Every time he was tempted and wanted to do it with Anina, he was worried that a situation would occur. That was, when he was about to do it, Long Bing would suddenly appear or knock the tiles with stones or cough outside the door. This had become a sore point for him. Anina finally wiped the grease off his face, and Charlotte secretly let out a sigh of relief. During the day, he was seduced by Anina, and at night, he had to sleep on the same bed with Long Bing, and he couldn't do anything. During the time he was in Germany, he wanted to see a psychiatrist. Anina wiped Charlotte's sweat, but she didn't put the towel on his neck. Instead, she used the towel to wipe the sweat on his chest. She wiped it, and the soft areas swayed left and right. A large area of snow white also swayed in front of Charlotte's eyes. Xiaolei quietly swallowed a mouthful of saliva and awkwardly looked away. The corner of Anina's mouth curled up slightly, and she put away the towel. "Lucas, let's go to the hospital in the afternoon. I received a call from Joseph. He said that he will be discharged in the afternoon. Let's go pick him up and discharge him." Joseph stayed in the hospital for a whole month, but if it weren't for Charlotte and the pair of tweezers, he would have lived in a coffin until the earth was destroyed. Charlotte said, "He doesn't like me, and treats me as love rival." Anina giggled. "Is that what you want to say?" Charlotte nodded. "Isn't it? It's impossible for me to be with him. I've always treated him as my brother since I was a child. How can I marry someone I think of as my brother? That's not love." Anina said, "There's someone I want to be with, but he's married again. What do you think I should do?" Charlotte coughed dryly. He didn't dare to casually respond to such a topic. "Come with me to the hospital. Joseph said that he wants to thank you personally." Anina didn't want to tease Charlotte anymore. She felt that Charlotte was actually quite pitiful. Charlotte said, "All right, I'll go with you to the hospital." He thought to himself, the most important part of that smart machine is the CNC program. When will Joseph be able to complete the CNC program for that machine after he's discharged from the hospital? I hope he can complete it within a month. That way, I can go back to China. He had been in Germany for more than a month. He couldn't contact anyone in China, and he didn't know anything about the company. For the past few days, Charlotte had been dreaming about his home, Jiang Rui and Liang Xiao, his company, and Shinatianin. In the afternoon, Anina brought Charlotte to a hospital. Charlotte saw Joseph in a ward. He was originally a skinny person, but after staying in the hospital for a month, he actually gained a lot of weight. However, he still looked a little weak and needed a rest for a period of time before he could return to normal. In the ward, Charlotte didn't see any of Joseph's friends. The ward was empty, which surprised him. "Joseph, how are you feeling today?" Anina greeted Joseph. "Not bad, thank you." Joseph's gaze shifted to Charlotte. Before Charlotte could say anything, he walked up and extended his hands to shake hands with Charlotte. When Charlotte met Joseph for the first time, he took the initiative to shake hands with Joseph, but Joseph didn't shake hands with him. Now, he took the initiative to shake hands with Charlotte. From this, it wasn't hard to see that after the previous incident, his attitude toward Charlotte had changed. Charlotte shook hands with Joseph and said, "Mr. Joseph, it's nice to meet you." Lucas, I know what you've done for me. Joseph gave Xiaolei a hug and said sincerely, "Thank you for saving me. What I did to you before, I want to apologize to you." Charlotte smiled. "Why apologize? You didn't do anything to apologize." Lucas also smiled. "Lucas, be my friend, okay?" Charlotte said. "Of course, it's my honor to be your friend." Anina interrupted. "Can you two men not be so disgusting? If you continue to be like this, I'll suspect that you're gay." Lucas and Charlotte looked at each other and smiled. The unhappiness in the past disappeared at this moment. Anina asked again, "Joseph, where are your friends? Why didn't any of them come when you were discharged today?" Joseph shook his head. "Hans almost killed me. I don't need friends like that. I've already separated myself from some people in the past. I also want to tell you a piece of good news." "What is it?" Anina asked. Joseph paused for a moment, then said in an exaggerated tone, "While I was in the hospital, I finished the CNC program for my smart machine with my laptop. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that it will become the most advanced machine in the world. I can make a lot of money." "Wow, really?" Anina hugged Joseph and said excitedly, "Congratulations, Joseph." Joseph smiled and said, "In another week, my child will be born. In the future, when there's money, I'll give you the latest and best Halley motorcycle. Okay?" "Okay." Anina kissed Joseph's cheek excitedly. Kissing the cheek was a very common etiquette in the West, but Joseph seemed very excited. He glanced at Charlotte from the corner of his eye. He seemed to care about Charlotte's reaction at this time, but he saw that Charlotte's face was full of smiles. Charlotte waited until Anina let go of Joseph, then went over and gave Joseph a hug. He smiled and said, "Congratulations, Joseph, you're really amazing. Your research will definitely spread to the world and inject new vitality into the global manufacturing industry." Joseph shook his head. "I didn't think that much. Also, some things can't be said out loud." Charlotte thought to himself, "Even if you don't say it out loud, it won't stop your research from taking root in the East. Joseph, I saved your life, and I stole your research results. We're even now. 1 week, and after I get it, I can go home. Can you guys help me get some things? I haven't been home for a month, and I need to go to the supermarket to buy some things." "The things in the fridge can't be used anymore," Joseph said. Anina said, "Even if you didn't ask, we would still help you. Let's go. What do you need help with? Can you help me walk? It's not convenient for me right now." Joseph looked at Anina expectantly. Anina nodded readily. "No problem." Joseph then said to Charlotte, "Lucas, can you help me get my laptop bag? I only have this little stuff." Charlotte saw the laptop bag on the bed, and his heart skipped a beat. However, he didn't show it on his face. "No problem." Anina helped Joseph out of the ward, and Charlotte followed behind, carrying Joseph's laptop bag. He had a strong urge to find an excuse to leave Joseph's sight for a few minutes, and then copy the CNC program that Joseph had completed. However, every time this urge grew stronger, a voice would appear in his mind. "Calm down, calm down." After walking out of the hospital, Anina helped Joseph into a taxi. Then she said to Charlotte, "You accompany Joseph in the taxi, and I'll follow on the bike." "However," Joseph said, "you accompany me. Lucas definitely knows how to ride a bike, right?" He looked at Charlotte. "A God-given opportunity." Charlotte nodded and said, "I can ride. No problem." "Anina, give me your keys. I'll follow behind." Anina rolled her eyes at Charlotte and reluctantly threw the keys to Charlotte. The moment he caught the keys, Charlotte felt like he was holding a direct flight ticket to China. He said excitedly in his heart, "This is a great opportunity. I'll purposely lose track of them and then copy the CNC program." "Lucas, can you give me my laptop bag?" Joseph's voice came. Suddenly, a pail of cold water was poured over Charlotte's head. Joseph was very cautious. The more cautious he was, the more he couldn't be impatient at the critical moment of the mission. Charlotte smiled, walked over, and handed the laptop bag to Joseph. Then he said, "Let's go. I'll try my best to keep up. If you guys can't see me, then make me a cup of coffee at home. I'll definitely appear in front of you when the coffee is still hot." Anina reminded, "Be careful on the bike." Charlotte nodded. The taxi drove Anina and Joseph into the driveway, but Charlotte took out his phone and made a call. He's discharged from the hospital, and he's done what we wanted. Tonight, let's do it. A woman's voice came from the phone. Ride the bike. I'm in the hospital lobby. Charlotte. Chapter 133. In the afternoon, Wharton Town was quiet and picturesque. The townspeople who heard the news came to give Joseph flowers and gifts to express their gratitude for his discharge. Charlotte and Anina helped Joseph greet the guests, but they didn't stay long and left after greeting him. After helping Joseph pack up, Anina said, "Lucas, let's go. Joseph needs a quiet environment to rest." Personally speaking, Xiaolei didn't want to leave at all. He even wanted Joseph to pester Anina so that he could have the chance to steal the secrets he wanted. But Anina wanted to leave, and he couldn't find any reason to stay. So he said, "All right, let's go. It's okay, you guys can stay." Joseph didn't want Anina to leave at all. He just wanted Charlotte to leave. Anina said, "Joseph, you need a rest. Call me if there's anything. We live so close. We can rush over in a few minutes." "All right, come over for dinner tonight," Joseph said. "We'll talk about it then," Anina said. Charlotte said, "All right, Anina, let's come over tonight to keep Joseph company. He's quite lonely." Anina rolled her eyes at Charlotte and thought to herself, "You idiot, you know he's pursuing me, and you still want me to keep him company. I'm rejecting him like this, isn't it to you?" Joseph followed and said, "Then it's settled. See you tonight." Anina took Xiaolei out of the door and walked towards her house. After walking into the woods, she said, "Lucas, what are you trying to do?" Charlotte pretended to be confused. "What do you mean?" Anina said angrily. "You're purposely creating an opportunity for us to be together. Are you trying to set us up?" Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Do I look like such a boring person to you? I really just feel that he just got out of the hospital and isn't feeling well. It's good for us to go over and keep him company. I don't mean anything else." In fact, he really wasn't creating an opportunity for Joseph and Anina to interact with each other. Instead, he was creating an opportunity for himself to steal secrets. But he would never be able to tell Anina this reason. "Is that really what you think?" Anina didn't believe him. Charlotte asked, "Do you want me to swear?" Anina suddenly reached out and covered Charlotte's mouth. "Who asked you to swear? The Lord will hear your voice. Don't swear so casually." She was a Catholic, not a particularly devout one, but she was very sensitive to things like vows. In China's words, it was a little superstitious. "Let's go to your house and come back later," Charlotte said. Anina asked tentatively while walking, "Lucas, doesn't your wife mind that you're not going home?" Xiaolei braced himself and said, "She's a very honest woman. She never asks me about my work, nor does she ask me where I go. She trusts you very much, and you are indeed worthy of her trust," Anina said sourly. Charlotte suddenly said, "I'm in a hurry. I need to go to the toilet. Why don't you go back first? I'll come later." All right." Anina smiled and walked forward alone. Xiaolei left the forest path and walked about 10 meters in the direction of Lucas' house. He only stopped when he could see Lucas' house from afar. His eyes were fixed on Lucas's house. He wanted to figure out one thing. At this time, would Lucas be in a hurry to insert the CNC program he completed into the Smart Machine tool? Suddenly, he heard a rustling sound behind him. It wasn't the sound of the wind blowing the leaves, but the sound of feet walking on fallen leaves. When Charlotte heard the rustling sound, his first reaction was to turn around to see who it was. But then he thought of something. A few seconds ago, he was still talking and laughing with Anina. Who else could it be other than Anina? Why did Anina turn around? This question flashed through Charlotte's mind, and he seemed to have found the answer in less than a second. He smiled bitterly and forced himself to open the zipper. Wasn't she the one who wanted to see him? For the sake of the mission, he was willing to sacrifice himself. The strong stream of water drew a parabola in the air. At its furthest point, it was at least 3 meters away from Charlotte. Anina, who went around to Charlotte's side, immediately covered her mouth. Stunned, Charlotte pretended not to know about Anina's existence. He looked straight at Joseph's house. He was only 30 to 40 meters away from Joseph's house. This distance didn't prevent him from using his X-ray vision. His left eye twitched slightly, and the situation in Joseph's house immediately entered his vision. Joseph was in the study, typing on the keyboard at his desk. He looked very focused and excited. He's already preparing to insert the CNC program. Charlotte made a judgment in his heart. Then he shivered, put the gun back into the warehouse, and closed the door. Anina tiptoed in the direction of her house, her two long legs moving as fast as the wind. Female pervert, Charlotte muttered. He didn't feel that he was at a disadvantage, nor did he feel disgusted. He felt that it was natural. Compared to the torment he had suffered in the past month, being looked at by her was nothing. Anina didn't run far. Instead, she stood in front and waited for Charlotte. When Charlotte walked over, he saw that her cheeks were slightly red, and she looked a little nervous. He knew that, but he said something else. Anina, why didn't Joseph invite you to take a look at his smart machine tool? As an advanced mechanic, don't you have any curiosity? Anina said, he's a very cautious person, and he doesn't like to trust others. I've only heard about it from him, but I've never seen the real thing. Joseph was indeed such a person. He had 4 very good friends, but because of the shooting incident, he cut them off. In fact, he didn't want the gangsters to hurt him. It was just an accident. From this, it could be seen that he was very cautious. He wouldn't trust anyone easily, and Anina was no exception. Charlotte smiled. If you haven't seen it, I won't have a chance. You want to see his smart machine tool? Anina looked at Charlotte. Charlotte said, I'm just a little curious. If I can see it, I'll see it. If I can't, I don't mind. Anyway, a mechanic like me can only operate some ordinary machine tools, and I'm an assistant to an advanced mechanic like you. I'm very satisfied with what I see. Anina said, don't talk about yourself like that. You work with me. How can I not know what you're capable of? Don't worry, I'll recommend you to the company's higher-ups and ask them to give you a raise. Thank you, but there's no need. Charlotte said politely, but in his heart he thought, I'm the boss. Do I need Krupp Mark to give me a raise? That day will never come. Thinking about leaving, Charlotte couldn't help but look at Anina. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt a sense of loss. Anina stared at Charlotte. Why not? Charlotte smiled. If the company gives me a raise, I might be transferred to another position. I like working with you. It doesn't matter if I earn less. Anina suddenly smiled. She gave Charlotte an intimate hug and kissed Charlotte's cheek. You're so nice. I won't recommend you then. What are we going to do in the afternoon? Charlotte said. Anina smiled at Charlotte and said tentatively, you can do whatever you want. Xiaolei couldn't stand the look in her eyes and her subtle hints. He said, why don't I make you a water cart? A water wheel? Anina said in surprise. Why do you want to make a water wheel? Charlotte smiled and said, there's a river in front of your house. It would look much better with a water wheel. He was going to leave Germany soon, and he would definitely leave without saying goodbye. He wanted to leave something for her as a souvenir. Okay, let's make a water wheel. Anina clearly didn't want to make a water wheel, but since Charlotte insisted, she accepted. In the afternoon, a water wheel that was taller than a person stood by the river. The clear river water washed the water wheel. The water wheel slowly turned, scooped up the water, and then poured out. Anina's house suddenly had an elegant view. After putting away the tools, Anina looked at the windmill and smiled happily. Let's go. We should go to Joseph's house, Charlotte said. No, wait, Anina said. What else do you want? Charlotte asked. Let's take a picture in front of the water wheel. I'll go get the camera. Anina didn't wait for Charlotte to speak and ran into the house to get the camera. Charlotte stood in front of the water wheel for 2 minutes, and then Anina ran out with a SLR camera and a camera stand. She put the SLR camera on the camera stand and set it to automatic photo mode. She also happily came to Charlotte's side and intimately hugged Charlotte's waist. The SLR camera started to take pictures, and the clicking sound was nonstop. Anina kept changing her posture. She hugged Charlotte's waist, made funny faces, kissed Charlotte's cheeks, and even got into a fighting position, ready to give Charlotte a punch at any time. At first, Charlotte just smiled and took pictures seriously. However, he was quickly infected by Anina, and he also let go. He took the initiative to hug Anina's waist, kiss her cheeks, or stick his face to hers without any scruples. He was about to leave Germany. What was wrong with leaving a beautiful memory for a woman who liked him? The camera finally stopped after taking dozens of pictures in one breath. The two people who were hugging and taking pictures next to the water wheel looked at each other and suddenly stuck together at the same time. Their lips kissed and their tongues intertwined. Beep, 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 beep. Anina's phone suddenly rang. Charlotte gently held Anina's hand that was scratching his body and said softly, "It must be Joseph. We should go over." Anina took out her phone and glanced at it. Her brows suddenly furrowed. It really is him. He really knows how to pick the right time. Then she moved closer to Charlotte's ear and bit Charlotte's ear. "Tonight, don't go back. Let me make your wife a cuckold." Charlotte was speechless. Chapter 134. When they arrived at Joseph's house, Joseph had prepared a lot of ingredients. He was also dressed decently in his suit and well-polished leather shoes. Obviously, he wanted Anina to see his handsome side. If it was just Xiaolei, he would probably come out in his home clothes and slippers. That would be it. "Lucas, can you help me make some dishes? You know, my body hasn't recovered yet, so it's not convenient." After a few words of greeting, Lucas couldn't wait to send Charlotte away. Anina frowned slightly. She clearly didn't like it when Joseph ordered Charlotte around like a subordinate or servant. Joseph said that he treated Charlotte as a friend, but it seemed like that was just on the surface. Deep down, he still looked down on Charlotte, a young man from China who came to Germany to work. Charlotte didn't seem to mind at all. He smiled and said, "Okay, I'll go to the kitchen. What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you." Joseph was about to say something, but Anina said, "Just make something simple. There's no need to trouble yourself." She didn't want Charlotte to be too tired. "Okay, I'll just make a few dishes." Charlotte walked to the kitchen. Joseph and Anina were chatting in the living room, while Charlotte was busy in the kitchen. Before he could make a dish, a woman suddenly appeared by the kitchen window. It was Long Bing. Xiaolei was startled by Long Bing's appearance. He nervously turned his head to look in the direction of the living room, but he couldn't see Joseph and Anina chatting in the living room from the kitchen. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. He couldn't see Joseph and Anina without using his X-ray vision, so Joseph and Anina wouldn't be able to see what was happening here either. "Why are you here?" Charlotte lowered his voice. "Don't rush. When I said we'll act at night, I meant when Joseph and Anina are asleep." Long Bing said calmly, "A female mechanic and a patient. You don't have to be so careful. It's simple. I've already reported it to the higher-ups, and they've agreed to let us take action tonight. Our retreat plan has also been prepared. We're just waiting for you to succeed." So fast. Charlotte was a little surprised. The corners of Long Bing's mouth curled up slightly. "Why? Can't bear to part with your German lover?" Charlotte was a little speechless as he spread his hands, indicating that there was no such thing. "Put this in the food, and you'll be able to knock them out for a while." Long Bing passed a paper bag through the window. Charlotte took the paper bag. "What is it?" "It's something like sleeping pills. You can put them in your dishes. The pills have no smell, so you don't have to worry about them finding out." Long Bing said, "However, you'd better let them drink some alcohol. That way, they'll suspect that they drank too much and fell asleep. Also, there's a capsule in the paper bag. That's the antidote. Eat it before you put the pills in, and you won't be knocked out like them." Charlotte nodded. "All right, I know what to do." Long Bing said, "I'll go with you after this is done." Charlotte nodded again. The mission had finally come to an end, and he would be able to return to China soon. However, the sense of loss was getting stronger and stronger. What was certain was that he would never forget these days of spying in Germany for the rest of his life. Half an hour later, Charlotte finished 5 dishes: 3 German steaks, sausages, fried pork chops, vegetable salad, and a pea soup. Every dish had the special seasoning that Long Bing had given him. He placed the dishes on the table one by one and said, "Let's eat." Joseph and Anina ended their conversation and walked over. Joseph sniffed with his nostrils, then gave a thumbs up and praised, "Lucas, I didn't know you had such good cooking skills. In your house, your wife wouldn't want to go into the kitchen, right?" Charlotte smiled. She doesn't really go into the kitchen to cook. Most of the time, it's me who does it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to practice such cooking skills. Anina said unhappily, Joseph, why are you talking about Lucas' wife at a time like this? Joseph pretended to be innocent. Did I say something wrong? He had mentioned Xia Lei's wife on purpose. He had learned from his colleagues that Xia Lei was the one who had accepted the marriage. No, I'll go get some alcohol. It's not convenient for you anyway. Anina got up and went to the wine cabinet to get some alcohol. Charlotte was about to suggest drinking some alcohol, but Anina took the initiative to get the alcohol, which saved him a lot of trouble. Joseph, you just got out of the hospital. Can you drink? Charlotte tried to test him. Joseph said, red wine is fine. I've asked the doctor. He said that drinking a little red wine in moderation is good for cardiovascular health. Charlotte smiled. If you can drink, drink less. Eat more food. It's nutritious. Thank you, Lucas, Joseph said politely. Anina brought 2 bottles of red wine over. She opened one and poured 3 glasses. Charlotte raised his glass and said, Joseph, I wish you a healthy recovery. Cheers. Lucas, I also wish you a happy family. Joseph clinked his glass with Charlotte's, then drank the red wine under the blanket. He didn't dare to look at Anina's eyes. He buried his head in his steak. Anina was indeed unhappy. What she wanted to see the most was for Charlotte's family to not be harmonious and for him to divorce his wife. But Joseph had mentioned Charlotte's wife countless times today. He even wished Charlotte a happy family. Wasn't he deliberately opposing her? Anina also drank a glass of wine. Then, she lightly kicked Charlotte's calf under the table. Charlotte looked at her in surprise. His eyes seemed to be asking Anina why she kicked him. Anina moved her lips lightly. There was no sound, but Charlotte used the lip-reading spell to decipher her words. She said, hurry up and eat. We'll go home after eating. Anina didn't want to stay here any longer. Charlotte suddenly remembered what she said by the river. Let me make your wife a cuckold. These words caused his heart to ripple uncontrollably. Anina playfully winked at Charlotte. She sat down and gently rubbed Charlotte's calf. Charlotte was nervous because of her teasing. He didn't dare to look at Anina's seductive eyes. He buried his head in his steak. The 3 of them ate and drank at the same time. The 2 bottles of red wine were quickly gone. The food on the table was also almost gone. Xia Lei's heart was filled with curiosity, and he thought to himself, I've put all the medicine that Long Bing gave me into the food, but why aren't Joseph and Anina unconscious yet? Could it be that the medicine Long Bing gave me was a futures contract? Just then, Joseph put down his knife and fork. He wiped his mouth with a napkin and said, Lucas, your cooking is really good. Eat. Before he could finish a sentence, his head suddenly hit the dining table. Anina, who was sitting next to Joseph, tilted her neck and lost consciousness. Joseph, are you okay? Charlotte reached out and shook Joseph's head. Joseph didn't respond. He then patted Anina's cheek. Anina, wake up. Anina didn't respond either. Just then, a woman's voice came from the kitchen. Don't waste your energy. They need 2 hours to wake up. Charlotte turned around and saw Long Bing. 2 hours? That fast. Get to work. From now on, every minute is precious, Long Bing reminded him. Charlotte said, his computer is in the study. I'll take you there. Charlotte took Long Bing upstairs and went to Joseph's study. Joseph's computer was on the desk. Charlotte turned it on, and a password appeared on the screen. He frowned. I don't know the password. Move aside. I'll do it. Long Bing moved closer. Charlotte stood to the side. He doubted that Long Bing could solve the password set by an electrical engineer, but he didn't expect Long Bing to enter a long password and open Joseph's computer. How do you know Joseph's password? Charlotte was surprised. Long Bing looked at him and said calmly, Did you think I was just a wife waiting for you to come home for dinner in Germany? When Joseph was in the hospital, I would climb up to the building opposite the inpatient department of the hospital every day and use binoculars to monitor Joseph. He would enter the password several times a day, and I already memorized it. I see. Charlotte sighed in his heart. She was indeed a professional agent. I do all the dirty and tiring work. You, on the other hand, have fun with Anina every day. When she inserted the USB into the USB port, Long Bing added. Charlotte was embarrassed and didn't respond. After the operating interface of the laptop was opened, he took over the computer and quickly found the program that he needed to copy. He opened it, confirmed it, and then copied it into the USB. Not only did he copy the completed program, but he also copied some information and draft documents into the USB. After he was done, Charlotte took out the USB and closed the laptop. Let's go to the warehouse and take a look. He must have implanted a control program in the past half a day. Before we leave, I want to take a look at his machine again. Long Bing nodded. There's still plenty of time. Let's go. The two left Joseph's study room and went to the warehouse behind the house. The fluorescent tarpaulin covering the smart machine tool was removed, and a complete smart machine tool stood in the warehouse. Xiao Lei found a part that had been processed on the control panel. His heart skipped a beat, and he quickly walked over. He picked up the part and examined it. He said excitedly, "This is a high-precision part. Currently, there are no machines in our country that can process it." That's right. He implanted a CNC program and succeeded. Do you want to take apart his machine to take a look? Do you want to take the circuit board or the main control computer with you? Long Bing didn't know much about this, but in the past month in Germany, in order to complete the mission, she had read a lot of professional books in this area and learned some knowledge. Charlotte thought for a moment. No need. Go outside and keep a lookout for me. I want to examine his machine carefully, and then we can leave. Long Bing said, "Okay, but remember, you only have 1 hour and 40 minutes. After that, you need to sit at the dining table, and then our people will finish you off." Huh? Charlotte was shocked. He stared at Long Bing, dumbfounded. She didn't have to burn the bridge after crossing it, right? Long Bing suddenly burst out laughing. "You look so funny like this. Don't worry, this is only a part of the mission. We won't really kill you. We'll just pretend to kill you in front of Anina and Joseph when they wake up. You can't just disappear mysteriously when Joseph just completed the smart machine tool, right? You need to pretend to disappear from their lives forever. Do you think that if you die, Joseph will still suspect you of stealing his secrets? So that's how it is." Charlotte smiled bitterly and shook his head. Just as Long Bing turned to walk out of the warehouse, his left eye twitched slightly. Then, the internal structure of the smart machine tool appeared in front of him like a naked woman. Chapter 135. An hour and a half later, Charlotte walked out of the warehouse. In the past hour, he had learned all the mechanical structure, integrated circuits, and CNC programs of Joseph's smart machine tool. Although he couldn't see some of the virtual things, he knew the principles. With what he had now, he could definitely create the most advanced smart machine tool in the world when he returned to China. Back in the living room, Charlotte saw two strangers. They were both wearing black silicone masks and looked like black people, but from the color of their eyes, Charlotte knew that they were of the same race as him. "Is it done?" Long Bing asked. Charlotte said, "It's done." Long Bing looked at the watch on her wrist and said, "There's not much time left. Go back to your original seat." Charlotte walked to the dining room and sat in his original seat. He looked at Anina, who was lying on the dining table, and suddenly felt a sense of guilt. He could completely feel Anina's feelings for him. She liked him, and it was sincere, without any materialistic desires or anything else. Even though she knew he had a wife, she still didn't give up. Her feelings for him were so real, but he lied to her and didn't even give her a chance to apologize. As soon as she woke up, he would die in front of her. What awaited her was an unsolvable mystery and sadness. It wasn't fair to her at all. Charlotte quietly looked at Anina's face and said in his heart, "I'm sorry. I lied to you, but I didn't do it on purpose. Some things are out of my control. I don't know if we'll have the chance to meet again in the future. If we do, I'll repay you well. Take care, Anina." At this moment, Joseph and Anina, who were lying on the dining table, moved. Long Bing gave the two black mask colleagues a look and left the room. The two black mask colleagues took out their pistols and hid on both sides of the dining room, waiting for Anina and Joseph to wake up completely. Charlotte also lay on the table, creating the illusion that he had woken up with Joseph and Anina. What happened? Joseph was the first to wake up. He opened his eyes in a daze and saw Charlotte and Anina lying on the table. At this time, Anina also opened her eyes. She shook her head, as if trying to wake up. Anina, are we drunk? Joseph was confused. Are we drunk? So weak? Anina mumbled. Charlotte also opened his eyes. He rubbed his eyes and said, Joseph, is your wine okay? It's only 2 bottles. We're all drunk. Joseph suddenly remembered something, and his expression became tense. He said, You guys stay here. I'll go take a look at the warehouse. We're going back. Anina stood up. Lucas, let's go. Charlotte smiled at her. He wanted to leave one last smile for Anina, but at this time, his smile was full of sadness. Perhaps Charlotte's smile touched the soft part of Anina's heart. She suddenly held Charlotte's hand intimately in front of Joseph. Joseph's face suddenly became ugly. At this time, a stun bomb suddenly flew into the dining room, fell on the ground, and exploded. The strong light from the left eye and the deafening explosion immediately knocked the 3 people to the ground. At the moment when they fell to the ground, Charlotte subconsciously hugged Anina tightly to protect her body. 2 gunmen wearing black silicone masks suddenly rushed into the dining room and pulled Charlotte, who was lying on Anina's body, up. One of them pointed a gun at Charlotte and shouted, It's him, he killed our boss, Navis. Kill him. Damn it, kill him. The 2 wearing black silicone masks echoed each other and shot at Charlotte together. Bang, 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 bang. Sparks flew out from the gun barrels, and the cartridges fell to the ground. Charlotte screamed miserably and fell to the ground. The 2 wearing black silicone masks were still crazily pulling the trigger at his body. However, there were only cartridges, no bullets. Not even a piece of Charlotte's skin was broken. Anina shook her head hard, but she still couldn't see Xia Lei's situation clearly. Her ears were also buzzing nonstop, and the deafening gunshots couldn't stimulate her eardrums, which had already been numbed by the shock of the shockwave. However, she was very clear that the 2 black men were shooting at Charlotte. Lucas! She opened her mouth, trying to wake Lucas up. She hoped that a miracle would happen, and that was Lucas would suddenly get up from the ground and knock down the 2 black gunmen. However, such a miracle only existed in her imagination, and it didn't happen in reality. Joseph struggled to get up from the ground, but before he could steady himself, the handle of a gun hit his head. He groaned and fell to the ground again. Anina heard the conversation between the 2 black men and saw 2 blurry figures walking toward her. Suddenly, a thought popped in her mind. Will they kill me? Lucas, wake up, save me. At this critical moment, she couldn't think of anyone but Charlotte. The handle of a gun suddenly smashed into Anina's head, and she completely lost consciousness. After an unknown amount of time, Anina slowly woke up. She subconsciously rubbed her burning eyes. She saw Joseph lying on the ground and saw the cartridges all over the ground, but she didn't see Charlotte. When she thought of Charlotte, Anina's body suddenly gave birth to an inexplicable strength. She got up from the ground, then staggered and ran out while looking around. As she ran, she shouted, Lucas, 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 where are you? No one responded to her. The bright and handsome young man from China seemed to have left forever and would never appear in front of her again. The horrifying scene appeared in her mind. The 2 black gunmen threw a stun grenade into the dining room and then shot at Charlotte. No, you won't die, sob sob. Rationality finally won over her imagination, and Anina's tears flowed out, wetting her cheeks. Anina, where's Lucas? Joseph also got up from the ground. He looked around, but he didn't see Lucas. Anina turned back to look at Joseph, her eyes brimming with tears. Lucas was killed by the gangsters, sob. At this point, she couldn't hold it in any longer and started bawling. Joseph walked over, hugged Anina's shoulder, and comforted her. Don't be afraid. You still have me. I'm here with you, and no one can hurt you. Anina leaned on his shoulder and cried. But just as she was crying her heart out, Joseph suddenly let go of her and strode toward the staircase. As he walked, he said, Oh no, those guys must have come for my smart machine tool. Anina froze on the spot. Lucas was killed, but you only remember your smart machine tool. He saved your life. Did you forget? Joseph didn't answer, and he quickly walked up to the second floor. At this moment, he didn't look like a weak patient at all, and his footsteps were swift. Anina caught up to him on the second floor and entered Joseph's study. Joseph saw his computer and let out a long sigh of relief. Luckily, my computer is still here, and the things here don't seem to have been touched. As he spoke, he woke up the computer, and the password box popped up on the monitor. He entered the password, and then checked the things in the hard drive. The results of the check made him feel a little more relaxed, and the things in the computer were untouched. He was quite confident in his complicated password. I told you, Lucas was killed by the gangsters, and those guys weren't interested in your smart machine tool at all. Anina felt bad for Charlotte, because he had saved a heartless guy. No, I have to go to the warehouse to confirm it. Joseph followed her to the warehouse. This time, Anina didn't follow him. She returned to the dining room and stared at the shell casings on the floor in a daze. She was sure that she saw Charlotte fall to the ground after being shot, and then two black gunmen fired wildly at Charlotte's body. No one could have survived that kind of situation, and that was why she was sure that Charlotte had been killed. But why wasn't there any blood, and why wasn't there a body? Those two black gunmen killed Lucas. Why did they take the body away? Anina couldn't understand this question no matter how hard she tried. After thinking about it for a while, Anina took out her phone and called the police. Not long after, Joseph returned from the warehouse with a smile on his face. Those guys really didn't come for my smart machine tool, and the things in the warehouse were untouched. I have checked carefully, and there's no problem. For Joseph, what happened in front of him was indeed something to be happy about. He didn't lose his most important thing, but his love rival was dead. Without Charlotte, he didn't have to worry that Anina wouldn't change her mind. Enough! Anina yelled at Joseph. I don't want to hear you talk about the smart machine tool anymore. Joseph put away his smile and pretended to be sad. I'm sorry, Anina. I'm sad that Lucas was killed. But you know, the smart machine tool in the warehouse is my blood, sweat, and tears for many years. It's like my child. In the future, we will earn a lot because of it. Believe me, we can do it. That's you. It has nothing to do with me. Anina's emotions were a little out of control. She covered her ears and walked out. I don't want to listen to you. I'm going out to wait for the police. You call the police? Joseph looked very surprised. Why didn't you tell me? Anina didn't talk to Joseph anymore and angrily walked out of his house. Joseph's eyes flashed with hatred, but he didn't thicken his skin to chase after her. The night was boundless, and there was a bright full moon in the sky, as well as countless stars. It was a beautiful night, and Anina was supposed to be at home with Charlotte, but in the blink of an eye, they were separated forever, never to see each other again. Lucas, are you in the sky? Tell me, which star is you? Anina looked up at the sky, full of stars, and tears flowed down her eyes again. Chapter 136. 3 days later, in the capital of China, Jiangwo Road, 101, in a building that didn't even have a name. This building that looked like a high-end office building was the headquarters of 101 floors. It was the first time for Charlotte to come here. Huh? In an office, Sherborne laughed and slapped Charlotte's shoulder. This was an action of approval, but Charlotte frowned. Mr. Sher, are you trying to slap me to death? Oh, sorry. Sherborne smiled. The blueprints and programs that you brought back have been identified by the relevant experts, and they're very valuable. You have made a great contribution this time. Tell me, how do you want me to reward you? Charlotte said, just give Old Moo a copy of the blueprints and software programs. This will be considered as me fulfilling my promise. Other than that, I don't want anything else. Sherborne looked at Charlotte and said meaningfully, as far as I know, your company survives by taking orders from Shinjo Industrial Group. Aren't you afraid that they won't give you any more orders after they get this kind of machine tool? Without the orders from Shinjo Industrial Group, can your company still survive? Charlotte smiled and said, the survival of my company is a small matter, but the development of our manufacturing industry is a big matter. If our manufacturing industry can quickly catch up with the level of developed countries in Europe and America, there is nothing to regret, even if my company goes bankrupt. An old leader like Sherborin liked people with patriotic sentiments the most. Charlotte deliberately made his words sound so smooth and beautiful. In fact, he was not worried at all that Shinjo Industrial Group would not give orders to Lima Manufacturing Company after they copied Joseph's smart machine tool. Even if they copied the first smart machine tool, Shinjo Industrial Group would still ask him for help. As for the more distant future, if Lima Manufacturing Company still relied on processing parts for large state-owned enterprises to survive, it would not be a pity if it went bankrupt. Sure enough, a smile appeared on Sherborin's face again. This time, he patted Charlotte's shoulder lightly and said with eyes full of expectation, "I'm very happy that you have such ideological awareness. Our country lacks young people like you. You have made contributions to the country, and the country will definitely not forget your contributions. If old man Mu doesn't give you orders in the future, I will go to his house and flip his table." Hee. This made Long Bing, who was standing beside Charlotte, laugh. Sherborin glared at Long Bing, and Long Bing shut her mouth again, not daring to laugh. Charlotte said, "Boss, sure, my mission is done, so I have to go home. It's been more than a month. I have to rush back to the company to take a look." Sherborin opened the drawer of his desk and threw a red certificate to Charlotte. Charlotte caught the certificate and asked curiously, "Boss, sure, is this the certificate issued to me by 101 Innings?" Sherborin said, "When you are willing to officially join the establishment of 101 Innings, I will issue you an official certificate. This is the benefit I'm giving you. This is a national travel pass. With this pass, you could take all the flights and high-speed trains in the country at any time and anywhere." Long Bing interrupted and said, "This certificate has your identification number. You only need to say your identification number when you call to book a ticket. In addition, this certificate allows you to carry 2 passengers." Charlotte opened the certificate and glanced at it. Sure enough, there was his photo on the certificate, as well as his name and identification number. He said with a smile, "In the future, I can travel all over the country for free. That's great." Sherborin said, "Boy, I gave you this certificate to make it easier for you to carry out your mission. Don't forget, you are a consultant of our 101 Innings." Charlotte said, "I won't forget. Goodbye, Boss Sure." "Goodbye, Sister Long. I'm the same age as you, and the date of birth on the certificate is 1 month younger than yours. Why are you calling me sister?" Long Bing looked dissatisfied. "Just call me by my name." Women were strange. If they were 10 or 20 years older than you should call them Annie. If you called her sister, she would be very happy. If you called her sister, she would be even happier. But if you called her sister, she would definitely be unhappy. Long Bing was not an ordinary woman, but she was still a woman. There were some things that she was not immune to. Charlotte just smiled. It was just a title. He didn't think it was important at all. Sherborin suddenly said, "Well, I have to remind you that love is prohibited in the Bureau." Before Charlotte could explain, Long Bing pushed him. "Let's go. I'll take you to the airport." A few minutes later, a military off-road vehicle without a license plate left the compound of 101 floors and drove in the direction of the airport. In the car, Charlotte woke up his phone. There were a lot of missed calls and a lot of text messages on his phone. He roughly looked at them. Liang Xiao had called him more than 70 times, twice a day on average. Jiang Rui had called him more than 100 times, 3 times a day on average. It was understandable that Liang Xiao had made so many calls related to the company, but Jiang Rui had made so many calls. What was wrong with her? "Do you want to see your sister?" Long Bing broke the silence in the car. Charlotte said, "No, she has to be independent sooner or later. It's good for her to exercise more." "Well, then I'll go directly to the airport," Long Bing said. Charlotte thought for a moment and said, "I have a favor to ask of you." "Say it." Long Bing was a man of few words. Charlotte said, "You know, I have a lot of enemies. I'm not by my sister's side, so please help me take care of her and don't let anyone hurt her." Long Bing's mouth showed a hint of a smile. Don't worry, you're now a consultant at 101 floors. Your family will be protected by professionals. Your enemies better not have any ideas about your sister, or they won't even know how they died. Someone is secretly protecting my sister. Charlotte was very surprised. From the day we went to Germany, your sister was included in the list of protected targets. There's a special department responsible for protecting her, so you can rest assured. Long Bing said, if the family of a person like you can be hurt at will or used to blackmail you, then can you still work for the country with peace of mind? Indeed, if the family of a person who is very important to the country could be bullied at will and used to blackmail that person, then how could he work for the country with peace of mind? A country was actually a huge machine. It had many parts, and these parts were actually the departments in reality. 101 floors was just a part of this huge machine, and the department responsible for protecting important targets was also one of the parts. It was just that each of them had different functions. Charlotte was a little curious that there was actually a department, but he didn't ask because he figured that Long Bing wouldn't tell him even if he asked. Sure enough, Long Bing then changed the topic. When you go back, keep a low profile. Don't mention our operation in Germany to anyone. Once it's leaked, it will cause international disputes. Charlotte said, don't worry, I know the nature of this matter. I won't tell anyone. Also, after a pause, Long Bing then said, don't contact that Anina again. In her world, you're already a dead person. I won't, Charlotte answered very simply. But Anina's figure appeared in his mind. Her sexiness, her beauty, and her teasing and seduction. Towards Anina, he always had a feeling of guilt in his heart. When they were near the airport, Charlotte suddenly thought of something. He said, I want to buy some gifts. Do you know where I can buy real gifts? Long Bing suddenly turned the steering wheel and stepped on the accelerator to deviate from the direction of the airport. This was her answer. In the evening, Charlotte carried a few big bags of gifts to a neighborhood. He came to the door of the Liang family and rang the doorbell. After coming back from Germany, the people he wanted to visit the most were his master, Liang Zhengchun, and his senior sister, Liang Xiao. In his heart, he had already regarded Liang Zhengchun and Liang Xiao as his family. Coming to the Liang family was also like going home. The person who opened the door was Liang Xiao. The moment the door opened, she was stunned. Charlotte said with a smile, what's wrong? Don't you recognize me? Liang Xiao suddenly punched Charlotte. She was very happy in her heart, but she pretended to be angry. Why didn't you answer my call? I called you every day, in the morning, at night, but you never answered. Do you know how worried I was about you? And my dad, he would ask me every day if you were back. I didn't know how to answer him. Charlotte said, I changed my phone in Germany, but they didn't let me call back. I'll explain it to you later. Where's Master? Is he there? I want to see him. As soon as his voice fell, Liang Zhengchun came out of his study. You're back? Have you eaten? Xiao is about to cook. Let's eat together. It was a simple sentence, like what a father said to his son who came back from a trip. It was plain but contained deep feelings. Master, I'm back. I brought you some gifts. Charlotte greeted him. You're back. You don't have to buy gifts. Although he said that, Liang Zhengchun couldn't help but smile. Xiao Lei took out the gifts one by one, as if he was counting his family treasures. Master, I know you like to drink tea, so I brought you frozen Tapu Oolong tea from Taiwan, Jinjamai tea from Wui Mountain, and Tiguanyin tea from Anchi. Yes, I even bought you a Yixing clay teapot. Good tea needs a good pot. Oh, you don't have a Yixing clay teapot? Let me see. People who love tea hoped to have a good Yixing clay teapot. Liang Zhengchun usually drank tea with ceramic teacups, which were several grades lower than a Yixing clay teapot. When he heard that Charlotte had bought him a Yixing clay teapot, his heart was naturally filled with joy and excitement. Charlotte handed the Yixing clay teapot to Liang Zhengchun. Liang Zhengchun held the teapot and carefully examined it. He used his fingers to touch the fine particles on the surface of the teapot and clicked his tongue. Good teapot. This is a real Yixing clay teapot. I bought a few in the past, but they were all fake. I didn't dare to buy them later because they were expensive and fake. Your teapot is in such good condition and has a warm texture. How much is it? It's expensive, right? Charlotte said with a smile. Master, don't ask about the price. It's not expensive. I asked someone to buy it. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have dared to buy it. This teapot was bought by Long Bing from a collector of Yixing clay teapots. That person didn't ask for money, so of course he didn't know the price. Although he didn't ask for money, it was estimated to be tens of thousands of yuan. Moreover, it was not sold in the market at all. I won't ask. Liang Zhongchun chuckled and then left with the teapot. I'm going to open the teapot. Liang Xiao pouted and looked unhappy. You bought a lot of gift for my dad. What about me? Charlotte smiled and handed a shopping bag to Liang Xiao. I bought you a dress at Uniqlo. Try it on. I don't know if it fits you. If it doesn't fit, I'll beat you up. Liang Xiao smiled and carried the shopping bag with the Uniqlo logo to her room. As she walked, she said, I'm going to try on the clothes. You go and cook. Charlotte was speechless. Chapter 137. Charlotte was still washing the vegetables when Liang Xiao walked into the kitchen. She was wearing a dress that Charlotte bought for her. The top of the dress was purple and the bottom was black. It was made of two different colors of fabric. There was a playful belt in the middle, which looked good on her. However, she covered the neckline of the coat with her hand, as if she was afraid that it would fall and reveal something important. Moreover, her cheeks were red, and she looked very embarrassed. Charlotte jokingly said, Senior sister, do you want to help in the kitchen? Then you have to change your clothes, or you'll get dirty. Who said I'm going to help you? I'm here to... Liang Xiao suddenly turned around and said, Help me zip up. Charlotte saw that the fabric on her back was open, and her whole back was exposed to the air. A pink lace bra buckle was also exposed to the air, and it seemed to have a faint fragrance, which was very tempting. Her small waist was also shyly revealed from the skirt. Under her soft waist was a black lace elastic band. It looked a little loose, revealing a small Y-shaped cleavage. Such a scene made Charlotte stunned for a moment, and his reaction seemed to be slow. Liang Xiao saw that Charlotte didn't move, and she looked back at Charlotte. Have you seen enough? I want you to help me zip up. Charlotte said awkwardly. This, Liang Xiao said, There are only you and my dad at home. I can't ask my dad to zip it up for me, can I? Hurry up, if my dad sees me like this in front of you. How embarrassing it will be. Charlotte quickly reached out to help Liang Xiao pull up the zipper. However, he was anxious and used too much force. As a result, the teeth of the zipper bit her lace and got stuck. Xiao Lei clumsily tugged twice, but the teeth of the zipper stubbornly bit onto the black lace on Liang Xiao's perky buttocks and refused to let go. When he tugged, the black lace ran up with him, and when he tugged it out, the lace was immediately separated from Liang Xiao's perky buttocks, and the beautiful white scenery inside fell into his sight. It seemed that she felt that something was exposed. Liang Xiao hurriedly reached out to cover her buttocks and said awkwardly, What are you doing? Sorry, I didn't mean it. Charlotte was embarrassed to death. She asked him to help her with such a small favor, but he messed it up. How shameful. Hurry up. Liang Xiao blushed. She only asked him to help pull up the zipper, but she actually pulled up her lace. Was there anyone more stupid than him? Charlotte pulled it twice again, but the teeth of the zipper still didn't loosen the black lace. He squatted down and grabbed the lace with one hand and the zipper with the other. But before he moved, Liang Xiao looked back at him and said nervously, Where are you touching? Charlotte gritted his teeth, grabbed the lace, and pulled up the zipper at the same time. With a soft sound, the lace suddenly lost a ball of fabric, and the whole suddenly revealed a touch of snow white. But fortunately, the zipper was finally pulled up. Charlotte wiped the fine sweat on his forehead and let out a long sigh of relief. I pulled it up, but Liang Xiao snorted, stepped on his foot, and then ran away as if she was escaping. He was beaten for helping, but Charlotte felt that he should be beaten. Stepping on someone's foot seemed to be a very light punishment for looking at someone's, but for no reason. After dinner, Charlotte and Liang Xiao went to Liang Zhongchuan's study to practice martial arts. Both of them were embarrassed to mention the embarrassing thing before, but Liang Xiao blushed when she saw Charlotte, and the way she looked at Charlotte seemed to want to step on him again. After practicing, the two of them got into a horse stance. "Senior sister, is there anything going on at the company during this time?" Charlotte asked. "You still remember your company?" Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte. Her eyes were charming and playful. Charlotte said with a smile, "I know it's been hard on you during this time. I will remember your kindness in my heart. Just tell me." "That's more like it," Liang Xiao said. "We mainly complete the ordinary orders of Shinjo Industry Group. The profit is not big, but it's better than the workers having no work. The supermarket business is good, and the profit is higher than the factories." "Is there no other company placing orders?" "No." Liang Xiao said, "I talked to Qin Xiang. He said that someone must have told them that those companies or individuals who want to place orders don't dare to come." Charlotte frowned suddenly. "Does Qin Xiang know who it is?" Liang Xiao said. Qin Xiang said he didn't know, but at the same time, Dongfeng Heavy Industry has a lot of orders, and some small orders are outsourced to other small companies, but they didn't give us any orders. Ning Yuanshan has a high reputation in Haizhu. If he said that, others really wouldn't send orders to our company. However, I don't want to believe that he is such a person. Charlotte also thought of the Gu family, especially Gu Qian. Gu Qian also had such strength. Liang Xiao sighed. "That's why I call you every day. We can't go on like this. Once Shinjo Industry Group doesn't have orders, our workers will have nothing to do. If the workers have no work, how can we pay them? We still have to pay for the insurance and housing funds. If it's a holiday, the workers will be dismissed. How is the company's product going?" Hanbo and Inhao are the directors of our company's R&D department. They have been working overtime every day, and sometimes they will stay overnight in the company's office. It's very hard. The R&D department they are in charge of has some plans this month. I've kept them for you to decide when you come back. You are the only one who can make such a decision. What's the plan? Give me a general idea. There's a plan to produce bicycles and a plan to produce cars. Before Liang Xiao finished speaking, Charlotte shook his head. The bicycle market has long been saturated, and some small workshops are also assembling bicycles. If we go in, we will definitely be badly hurt. As for the plan to produce cars, it's even more unreliable. We don't have that kind of strength now, and Chinese people care about their reputation. No matter how good our own brand cars are, they will choose low-priced and joint venture brands. We won't have a good time if we go in. Liang Xiao said, "I also don't think it's reliable, but they have worked very hard. Don't talk about them when you go to the company. By the way, there's a small plan for shopping carts. I think it's very interesting." "Shopping carts?" Charlotte asked curiously. "What's shopping carts?" Liang Xiao said, "This plan was actually inspired by Inhao in the supermarket. Nowadays, the old people shop in the supermarket. Our supermarket provides shopping carts, but when they go out of the cashier, they have to carry big and small bags out. It's very inconvenient. So he designed a folding shopping cart. This kind of shopping cart can be folded into a flat surface. It can be placed in the car or at home. It doesn't take up much space, but when it is opened, it can carry dozens of kilograms of things." Charlotte's heart was moved. "This is a good plan. Don't think that it's small, but the market is big. How about this? Tomorrow, I will ask the workers to make 10 of these shopping carts and sell them in our supermarket. If they sell well, we will increase the production. Okay. In addition, we can also add some different elements to cater to the preferences of the elderly and young people and expand the target audience. And this small plan also inspired me. We are a small company, so we are not in a hurry to produce those big things. We should start from the daily life aspect and produce more small products to meet people's daily needs. When we have enough accumulation, then we will enter a bigger and more high-end market." Charlotte said happily, "We will succeed." Liang Xiao also revealed a smile. Liang Zhengchun suddenly appeared at the door of the study room like a ghost. With a straight face, he said, "Should I ask you to practice or have a meeting? Don't count the 1 hour just now. Do the horse stance for another hour." "Ah," Charlotte and Liang Xiao said in unison. Their faces were also bitter. Liang Zhengchun picked up his purple clay teapot and took a sip of the frozen top oolong. Then he disappeared again. "It's all your fault." After I finish the horse dance, you have to give me a massage. Liang Xiao said. Charlotte. After standing the horse dance for an hour, Charlotte really served Liang Xiao once and gave her a full body massage. He really wanted to do something for her. After all, during the time he was not in China, Liang Xiao must have been very worried and tired to take care of the company for him. Giving her a massage made her comfortable and happy. He was also happy. Back in the room, Charlotte took a shower. Only then did the heat from the massage for Liang Xiao cool down. He lay on the bed and dialed Jiang Rui's number. Jiang Rui had called him so many times. If he did not take the initiative to contact her when he was back, it would not be right. When the call was connected, Jiang Rui's sleepy voice came through the phone. Who is it? It's so late. It's me. Jiang Rui's voice made Charlotte feel very close. He said with a smile, Lei. On the other side of the phone, Jiang Rui was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, she was full of energy and her voice was much louder. Where have you been? You've been gone for a month. I've called you, but you never answer. I've even put you on the record and listed you as a missing person. Charlotte thought for a moment and said, I went abroad with Long Bing to do something. You know, some things can't be said. When I was abroad, I couldn't call back. If I could, I would have called you long ago. I guess so. Jiang Rui snorted. Where are you now? I'm at my master's house. You're at your master's house? Hey, don't you have any shame? You didn't even go back to your own home when you came back to China. Instead, you live at your master's house. Is your master's daughter so charming? Her legs are as long as chopsticks. Do you want to use it to pick up food? 2 black lines suddenly appeared on Charlotte's forehead. Half an hour later, I caught a cold yesterday. When I went to the hospital, the doctor actually asked me to take a photo. I'm going to faint. There's even a photo of a cold. Is there any justice in this world? Charlotte yawned. Beat him. I'm a police officer. How can I beat people casually? Also, let me tell you, the day before yesterday, I personally caught a pervert who stole women's underwear. That guy ran so fast like a rabbit. This was Jiang Rui. This was Jiang Rui's style. She seemed to want to say all the nonsense that had been accumulated for more than a month in one call. Her little mouth was just like that. But Charlotte didn't regret accepting these things. In fact, he liked listening to her talk. Later, he didn't know whether he fell asleep first or Jiang Rui fell asleep first. There was no sound from the phone, but it was still in the state of the call. Later, even the phone ran out of battery. Chapter 138. On the second day after returning to Haizhu City, Charlotte was busy. As soon as he arrived at Lima Manufacturing Company, he summoned several important middle-level cadres of Lima Manufacturing Company to his office. Charlotte went straight to the point and said, Yesterday, I saw the portable shopping cart you designed. It's a good idea. I decided to produce some and put them in our supermarket to try. Maybe it will be our stepping stone to the market. Mr. Xia, how much profit can a shopping cart bring? I don't think so. Lu Shiwebing, who had been promoted to the workshop director by Charlotte, put forward a different opinion. Charlotte said, Director Lu, tell me why you don't think so. This. Lu Shiwebing subconsciously looked at Yi Hao and Han Bo, who were also in the office. He knew that all the proposals were from these 2 young people. He was worried that he would offend them if he said anything bad in front of them. Yi Hao seemed to see through Lu Shiwebing's mind. He said with a smile, Master Lu, if you have anything to say, just say it. You're a master, and we're young. We won't be angry even if you say something unpleasant to us. Really? Hanbo also said, that's right. Master Lu, if you have anything to say, just say it. It's all for the good of the company. We won't mind. Well, I'll say it. Lu Shiwebing said, how big a market can there be for such a small thing? We're a company, not a small workshop. I don't think we should produce these small things. We should produce some decent goods. I think your bicycle plan is good. Charlotte smiled and said, Director Lu, so you think this kind of small goods is not decent and not in line with our company's image, right? Yes, that's what I think, Lu Shiwebing said. Charlotte said again, that's not a good idea. For example, a product like a bicycle is decent, but once we produce it, can we sell it? Decent doesn't necessarily mean good. and it doesn't necessarily mean that it suits us. The company has just started, and I think we should focus on some small goods that ordinary people need. This shopping cart is just the beginning. In the future, we will design and produce more such small goods. We need to use small products to accumulate our customers and consumer groups. Once we have a foundation, we will introduce high-grade and high-price products. In-house said, Mr. Xia, with your words, our R&D department will adjust our direction and focus on small products. Lu Xuebing smiled embarrassedly. Looks like I'm getting old, and my thoughts are a little out of touch. However, what do you young people design? As long as you give me the blueprints, I will make something up to standard. Director Lu, your workshop will take on this task. Produce 10 of them first, and we will put them in the supermarket to test. If they sell well, you can produce more. If this method works, we can register the trademark and turn it into an official product. Okay. Lu Xuebing patted his chest with his calloused hand. I promise to complete the task. He took the blueprint and left immediately, looking very anxious. Zhou Xiaohong reached out and stopped Lu Xuebing. Director Lu, you're not in a hurry to leave. Give me a copy of the blueprint. Our workshop also wants to accept this task. Lu Xuebing looked unhappy. There are only 10 shopping carts in total. Our workshop isn't even enough to fill the gaps between our teeth, and you still want to snatch the task? Really? Zhou Xiaohong still wanted to argue, but Charlotte said, Xiaohong, don't argue with Director Lu. I have another task for you. Zhou Xiaohong said anxiously, What task? Charlotte said, I will give you a list later. You prepare the materials according to the requirements on the list. If you need special materials, take them from the materials sent by Shenzhou Industry Group. If you need to cut them, ask the workers to do it. Okay, I promise to complete the task too, haha. Zhou Xiaohong laughed happily. She obviously liked this task more than making shopping carts. Charlotte said, Let's go. Work hard. Our days will get better, and our company will also get better. Their days would get better, and so would the company. This was Charlotte's wish, as well as the wish of many employees of Lima Manufacturing Company. After the meeting, Charlotte went to his exclusive workshop. This workshop could only be used by one person. He had completed the special order from Shenzhou Industry Group in this workshop. There were several types of machine tools in the workshop, as well as welding machines, computers, and other office equipment. Usually, no one would come to disturb him. It was the ideal place for him to copy Joseph's smart machine tool. He was not afraid of his employees knowing that he was making his own machine tool, but he did not want anyone to know the origin of this machine tool, its blueprints, circuits, and other secrets. When he arrived at the workshop, Charlotte started to work. He printed a few lists and filled in the materials he needed. He had already planned these things when he was in Germany. He knew what was needed to make a machine tool, even the number of screws. As soon as Charlotte finished the list, Zhou Xiaohong came to his workshop. She did not come empty-handed. She was holding a steaming cup of tea in her hand. Charlotte smiled and said, You are so busy, and you still have time to make tea for me? Don't do these things in the future. Just do your work. Zhou Xiaohong said, Brother Lazy, you don't have a secretary, and Miss Liang is busy. If I don't make tea for you, who will? I am willing to work for you, unless you don't want to drink the tea I make. This little mouth of hers had been trained. Charlotte also knew that she was not doing this to flatter him. She was a simple woman. If someone was good to her, she would be good to that person with all her heart. This was actually the reason why he asked her to prepare the materials. He had absolute trust in her. Who said I don't want to? I'm thirsty. Charlotte took the tea that Zhou Xiaohong made for him, blew on it twice, and took a sip. The tea was Zhou Xiaohong's own cheap tea leaves. The color, smell, and taste were poor, but he felt that it was more refreshing and comfortable than the high-end tea at the tea house. Zhou Xiaohong looked at Charlotte with a smile. Brother Lazy, you should really find a secretary. I saw on TV that those bosses all have secretaries, and each one is more beautiful than the other. If you hire a secretary, when you are thirsty, she will make tea for you. If you're tired, she will massage your neck and legs. A man like you should have a woman to serve him. Charlotte smiled and said, What are you trying to say? You have learned bad things. Zhou Xiaohong's cheeks suddenly turned red. I'm telling the truth. I have not learned bad things. Charlotte handed the list to her. Okay. I will stop joking with you. This is the list. Prepare it for me according to the list. Zhou Xiaohong glanced at it and said in surprise, so much. Joseph's smart machine weighed 28 tons. Of course, it used a lot of materials. Are these small pieces of alloy used to make the screws? Why do you need to do it yourself? I will ask the workers in my workshop to do it for you. Zhou Xiaohong was already very experienced. She could tell what some materials were used to process just by looking at the size. Charlotte said, you don't need them to process it. Just ask them to add the materials. An intelligent machine tool, the most advanced intelligent machine tool in the world. Each screw has its own function and has its own strict requirements. He didn't want the machine tool to not reach the level of Joseph's smart machine tool, just because he wanted to save some time. Therefore, even if it was just a screw, he had to keep improving it and process it according to the strictest standards. Okay, then I will go prepare. Zhou Xiaohong said and left. Charlotte said, prepare the materials on the first list for me first. You don't have to send them to me when they are all ready. Okay. Zhou Xiaohong answered obediently and left in a hurry. After Zhou Xiaohong left, Charlotte sat in front of the computer again and created a document. Then he started to organize all the things he got from Joseph. However, the things he organized were only general. Some of the content was just an outline. Even if it was stolen, it wouldn't be of any use. This was because he didn't need to keep detailed blueprints like Joseph. His left, I had all the content he had seen. As long as he recalled it, he would be able to get what he wanted. After more than an hour, Zhou Xiaohong brought 2 workers with a forklift to deliver the materials on the first list. Zhou Xiaohong wanted to chat with Charlotte, but seeing how busy Charlotte was, she gave up on the idea and left with the 2 workers. After the materials were delivered, Charlotte started. The first thing he had to do was to finish the base. He was busy for half a day. At lunchtime, Liang Xiao came to Charlotte's studio. She saw Charlotte, who was sweating all over and had grease all over his face. She said with some distress, I know you want to improve our company's manufacturing level, but you can't work so hard, right? If you get tired, who will take care of this company? Charlotte said, it's okay. This is nothing. Besides, if I get tired, don't I still have you? You will help me manage the company. I'm not your housekeeper. Liang Xiao pouted. It was unknown whether she liked what Charlotte said or disliked what Charlotte said. Charlotte buried his head in his work again. He didn't want to waste even a minute. Liang Xiao walked up, snatched the tools from his hands, and pulled them out. Charlotte said, what are you doing? Don't you know what time it is? It's time for lunch. No matter how busy you are, you have to eat. Come to the cafeteria with me. Liang Xiao was very bossy. Only then did Charlotte feel hungry. Liang Xiao pulled Charlotte out of the studio. Many employees looked at them at once. The image they saw was that Liang Zhu, who was wearing an office lady's clothes, had invincible long legs, and was incomparably sexy, dragging President Xia, who was covered in grease and had a face like a cat. This image was full of humor, and people couldn't help but have all kinds of imagination. Looking at this situation, Liang Zhu will definitely become our housekeeper. Of course, I live in a building next to Liang Zhu's. I've seen our President Xia go to her house at night more than once. Wow, is there such a thing? Did you take any videos secretly? Hand them over, and we'll still be friends. Videos my ass. Who is Liang Zhu? A Wing Chun master who can beat 8 people alone. Her father is Liang Zhengchun, the direct descendant of Wing Chun, and a master. My God, I have to be apprenticed to him. My God, why didn't you tell me earlier? I wanted to ask her to watch a movie. Isn't she looking for death? The employees of Thunder Horse Manufacturing were all young people. Most of them didn't even have a girlfriend. When they got together, they inevitably talked about some messy topics. Charlotte and Liang Xiao were also one of their topics. At this time, Liang Xiao suddenly looked angry and said in a loud voice, Don't think I don't know what you were talking about. Go on if you want to deduct my salary. With a crash, the guys of Thunder Horse Manufacturing suddenly disappeared. Charlotte laughed and said, They seem to be very afraid of you. Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte and said, Someone has to be the bad guy, right? If everyone is the good guy, won't these guys tear the roof tiles? Let's go and wash our faces, you big cat. Charlotte reached out and wiped his face. Suddenly, he wiped his greasy hand on Liang Xiao's cheek and then ran away. As he ran, he laughed and said, If you want to wash, let's wash together, little cat. I'll beat you. Stop. Liang Xiao ran after him. Chapter 139. The 10 shopping carts made by Lu Xuebing and his men were sold out in the morning. Then they rushed to make another 20, which were also sold out. The reason for the good sales was simple. The shopping carts made by Lima Manufacturing Company were exquisitely designed, made of solid materials, and sold at a reasonable price. The most important thing was that they were easy to use. After opening, they could not only be used for shopping, but they could also be used as a bench when the lid was closed. In this way, the old men and women could not only drag the shopping carts to the supermarket, but they could also be used as a mobile bench. When they were tired, they could sit on it and rest. It was very convenient. After hearing the news, Charlotte was very happy. In the afternoon, he asked Guan Lingshan to register the trademark at the Industry and Commerce Bureau and prepare for mass production. Once there was a certain amount of inventory, the sales department would go out and expand sales channels. A small item in a shopping cart would not bring much profit, but it was a good start. It also pointed out the direction of development for Lima Manufacturing Company, which was to be people-oriented in design and produce the goods that ordinary people needed the most. He would not be able to reach the sky in one step and produce cars or large machinery. A small company should have the attitude and strategy of a small company. First accumulate, then develop. In the afternoon, Qin Xiang came to Charlotte's studio. Qin Xiang was dressed very coquettishly. He wore a white, deep V-neck t-shirt, tight cropped shorts, and a black decorative belt around his waist. This outfit, together with his face, which was more beautiful than a woman's, was really coquettish. The staff of Lima Manufacturing Company and Mimi Supermarket all called Qin Xiang Queen Qin behind his back. After knowing that, he was not angry, but happy for a few days. What are you busy with? Qin Xiang's voice was soft. Charlotte stopped what he was doing and said, Preparing to make a machine tool. Machine tool? Not interested. Qin Xiang said with a smile, I just came to see you and talk to you. Charlotte smiled. What do you want to talk to me about? Qi Jingxiu, and the man who looks like your father, said Qin Xiang. Charlotte was stunned for a moment. During this time, he had not thought about the unknown order. Now that Qin Xiang suddenly mentioned it, the man's appearance suddenly appeared in his mind. That order, the man who looked like his father, was an unsolved mystery to him. After you went to Germany, I didn't forget about it. I followed Qi Jingxiu a few times. The man didn't appear again, but I unexpectedly found out that she met the small customers who placed orders with our company. And then those customers became customers of Dongfang Heavy Industries, said Qin Xiang. Charlotte suddenly frowned. I heard Xiao asked you, and you. You said you didn't know. What happened? Qin Xiang said, Xiao has a fiery temper. She's a woman who practices martial arts. If I tell her about this, she'll definitely cause trouble for Qi Jingxiu. Don't forget, you still have an opponent like Su Lang. If she hits Qi Jingxiu, Su Lang definitely won't let go of this opportunity to take revenge on you. If Xiao is arrested and you are in Germany, I won't be able to manage your company. Won't this place be a mess? Qin Xiang not only looked like a woman, but she also had the mind of a woman. She was very meticulous. Although he hid it from Liang Xiao, he had to admit that he was very thoughtful and right to do so. Charlotte nodded. Well, you did the right thing. However, with Qi Jingxiu's identity, she can't possibly convince all our small customers, right? Besides, she doesn't care about those small orders. Why would she do that? Qin Xiang said lightly. Have you forgotten who she works for? Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. You mean Ning Yuan Shan? Yes, Ning Yuan Shan. After I found out that Qi Jingxiu had contacted our client and our small orders suddenly disappeared, I had my suspicions. One night, I sneaked into Ning Yuanshan's office and put a bug in his office. This is the conversation between Ning Yuanshan and Qi Jingxiu that I recorded. Listen to it. Qin Xiang took out his mobile phone and opened an audio file. Ning Yuanshan's voice came out of the phone. Jingxiu, how is it going with what I asked you to do? Qi Jingxiu's voice also came out of the phone. Chairman Ning, you asked me to poach all of Charlotte's customers and stop them from placing orders with Lima Manufacturing Company. I did as you instructed. It went well. However, Chairman Ning, it's a small matter. You don't have to worry about it. As soon as those small customers heard that it was our company, they couldn't wait to ask us to do it. Thunder Horse Manufacturing Company is just a small workshop. Does he want to make it big? I think Charlotte's company would have closed down long ago if it weren't for the orders from Shenzhou Industry Group. You did a good job, said Ning Yuanshan. Poach as many of Lima Manufacturing Company's customers as you can. Even those who have potential cooperation intentions must be notified in advance. Our Dongfang Heavy Industries will do their orders. We won't do it, we'll outsource it. In short, I want that kid to have no business to do. Chairman Ning, can I ask why? Qi Jingxiu's voice carried a hint of probing. Do you still need to ask? Ning Yuanshan said. Shenzhou Industry Group used to be our big customer, and Mu Jianfeng and I also have a good relationship. But all of this was ruined because of that kid. I treated him well, but he stabbed me in the back. If I don't vent my anger, how can I have the face to stand in Haizhu? That kid doesn't know how to appreciate favors. He should suffer a bit, said Qi Jingxiu. In the long run, it's also necessary to do so. Ning Yuanshan's voice said, that kid is very skilled and can process ultra-precision parts. Now he has the backing of Shenzhou Industry Group. If we let him gain a foothold, won't he be the first in the manufacturing industry in Haizhu? You have to remember that he's our opponent now, not our friend. The business world is like a battlefield, and he's our enemy. Of course, the sooner we destroy our enemy, the better. I understand, Chairman Ning. Go. Ning Yuanshan's voice said. The audio file ended here. Qin Xiang put away his mobile phone and said, Ning Yuanshan wants to use his influence to deal with us. What's your plan? Ning Yuanshan's plan was like a siege on an ancient battlefield. He didn't hand over his soldiers, but cut off Lima Manufacturing Company's food and water supply. If his plan succeeded, then when Shenzhou Industry Group replicated Joseph's large intelligent machine tools, Lima Manufacturing Company would have no orders to do. Before anyone could poke a finger, Lima Manufacturing Company would fall on the battlefield. Charlotte was silent for a moment before saying, Ning Yuanshan does have a lot of influence in Haizhu. As the boss of the largest state-owned enterprise, his influence is even greater than that of Mayor Hu Ho. Those who rely on him usually don't dare to go against his wishes. It's normal that we don't have orders to do. It's useless for us to go to those customers now. We don't have the capital to make them change their minds. To put it bluntly, most people in the business world are snobs. Even if we kneel down to them and beg them, they won't take pity on us and offend Ning Yuanshan. Qin Xiang frowned. Are you saying that we don't have a solution? Xiao Lei said, why is there no solution? Aren't we walking our own development path? As you can see, the shopping cart we designed and made is very well received in the market. Huh? Qin Xiang laughed strangely. A shopping cart costs 180 yuan, and the cost of labor and materials adds up to 120 yuan. We made a profit of 60 yuan. Today, the supermarket sold a total of 32, and the profit was less than 2,000 yuan. If this is the solution you're talking about, are you kidding me? Even if it sold well, Qin Xiang wasn't optimistic. This was normal. No one would expect such a small product to help a company develop. Charlotte smiled. This is just the beginning. Just wait and see. Do you mean we're not going to deal with Ning Yuanshan? Qin Xiang said tentatively. I mean, we'll use our own way. Charlotte said. Do you mean the way we dealt with Huang Yihu? Yes, find his weakness. If we work together, there's nothing we can't steal. Qin Xiang said. Once we find Ning Yuanshan's weakness, we can threaten him and make him return our customers to us. We can even make him give us bigger orders. Charlotte shook his head. You're wrong. I'm wrong. Yes, you're wrong. Charlotte said. First of all, you haven't figured out what kind of person Ning Yuanshan is. He's not greedy or lustful. He's honest and clean, and there's almost no evidence to be found. If he has done something illegal, why hasn't there been any rumors about investigating him now that the anti-corruption movement is so fierce? Qin Xiang really didn't expect this. Charlotte added, also, remember, don't try to solve everything in illegal ways. Even if you solve the problem temporarily, there will be hidden dangers. If there are too many hidden dangers like this, one day they will be dealt with. Then what should we do? Qin Xiang smiled bitterly. You're not really counting on the shopping cart, are you? Charlotte pointed to the large pile of materials on the ground, as well as the part of the base he had completed, and said, see, it will be the most advanced machine tool in the world, and in China, only I can make it. Ning Yuanshan wants to block my way. He also got one thing wrong. That is, I'm actually flying. Qin Xiang froze for a moment, then suddenly laughed. He's blocking the way, but you're flying. Ha ha. Although I don't know what the hell you've made this machine tool, I believe you. Well, go do your thing. I still have a lot of work to do, said Charlotte. Qin Xiang opened her arms. Give me a hug. I haven't hugged you since you came back from Germany. Charlotte. Chapter 140. After a busy day, Charlotte worked overtime until 10 at night. It was already dark when he left the company. When he got off work in the afternoon, Liang Xiao asked him to go to her house, but he declined with the reason of working overtime. That was true. He had his own home, but he always went to his master's house. Driving alone on the street, the skyscrapers and neon lights flashed in front of him. Charlotte's mind was also flashing, and he couldn't calm down. It's been a tiring day, and the progress of the entire project is less than 3%. If I want to complete it, it will probably take more than a month. After a month, I will be able to replicate Joseph's smart machine tool. It was impossible for a single person to complete an intelligent machine tool in a month's time. If it were any other mechanic, it would be impossible for them to do so. But he was different. With the support of his left eye's extraordinary ability, he could use a normal machine tool to process ultra-precise parts. He could think of all the blueprints and all the circuits with just a thought. Therefore, although he seemed to be working alone, his productivity was definitely not lower than that of a team of experts. Shenzhou Industry Group had already gotten the necessary blueprints and software programs, and they must be working on replicating the smart machine tool designed by Joseph. There must be an elite team working on it, but Shenzhou Industry Group's progress might not be faster than Charlotte's. I thought Shenzhou Industry Group would talk to me after I returned to Germany. Even if Mu Jianfeng didn't come personally, they would at least send a department head like Zhou Wei or Jiang Xin to meet me. But there wasn't even a shadow, not even a phone call. What does this mean? Last time, Mu Jianfeng gave an ordinary order. A month has passed, and the order was delivered 5 days ago, but Shenzhou Industrial Group did not give a new ordinary order. Are they going to burn the bridge after crossing the river? Or maybe they are looking down on my small company, and working with Lima Manufacturing Company is a disgrace to them? Now they think they don't need me anymore, so they don't care anymore? These thoughts circled in his mind, and the feeling of burning the bridge after crossing it made him a little uncomfortable. Unknowingly, he returned to the neighborhood. Charlotte parked the car in the parking lot and got out. Io, isn't that lazy? A soft woman's voice suddenly came. Charlotte saw Jiang Rui standing on the balcony at a glance. He walked over and said with a smile, "What are you doing instead of sleeping in the middle of the night?" "I bought a selfie stick to take pictures." Jiang Rui shook the selfie stick in her hand and looked very proud. "Taking selfies so late at night? Aren't you afraid that the photos will scare people?" "Screw you. I'm beautiful. No matter how I'm photographed, I'm still a beauty." Jiang Rui rolled her eyes at Charlotte. "As for you, didn't you go to the Liang family? Did you get chased out because you quarreled with your wife?" Charlotte's smile froze on his face. He had bickered with Jiang Rui for more than 20 years, and the number of times he had one could be counted with 10 fingers. This evildoer was the nemesis of his life. Jiang Rui's line of sight suddenly fell on a shopping bag in Charlotte's hand. Her big black eyes suddenly lit up. Lazy, what's in the bag? Charlotte lifted the shopping bag, shook it in front of Jiang Rui, and then slowly said, "This is a dress I bought in the capital's Uniqlo. I wanted to give it to you, but I don't want to give it to you." "Why?" Jiang Rui was anxious. "You scolded me just now. Why should I give it to you? I'll keep it for Xiao Xue to wear when she grows fat." "Are you saying I'm fat?" Jiang Rui stared at Charlotte, as if she was about to lose her temper. But in a blink of an eye, she revealed a smile. "Lazy bro, I'm joking with you. Give me the dress, and I'll try it on. I'll take a photo and send it to my circle of friends. Those old ladies are envious." Charlotte handed the shopping bag to Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui took the shopping bag and said, "Come in. I'll open the door for you." "It's so late." Charlotte looked a little embarrassed. "If you don't come to my house, I'll go to your house. Which one do you choose?" "Open the door." After entering the door, Jiang Rui stuffed the cell phone and the selfie stick into Charlotte's hand. Then she took the shopping bag and ran into her dorm to change her clothes. Charlotte held the selfie stick and shook it, stretching and shortening it. An idea suddenly came into his mind. This selfie stick can only be extended and shortened. Many of the photos taken can see the selfie stick shadow, which affects the beauty of the photos. If it can be bent, would it be better? After this idea came into his mind, he stuck Jiang Rui's cell phone on the selfie stick and took a few photos from several different angles. As a result, every photo had the selfie stick shadow, which looked very uncoordinated. Later, he took out his cell phone, opened the Jingdong app on the cell phone, and entered selfie stick in the search bar. A lot of selfie sticks suddenly appeared on the cell phone screen. The general price was between 80 to 90 yuan, and some of them were more than 100 yuan. In terms of materials, the cost of a selfie stick wouldn't exceed 10 yuan. This was a product that could make huge profits. More importantly, there was no selfie stick in the market that could be completely bent. An inspiration, a good plan was inexplicably born. Charlotte was very happy. He secretly said in his heart, "After I go back, I'll design it and then apply for a patent. This small product will definitely sell well." At this time, Jiang Rui came out from her dorm. Charlotte bought a red dress for her. The neckline was low, revealing a quarter of her fullness, and the deep cleavage in the middle was particularly conspicuous. The small waist was just right, and the curve of her chest and buttocks formed a seductive S shape. The skirt was open, and a pair of beautiful legs were faintly discernible. Her face and figure were very good. This red dress seemed to be custom-made for her, and the degree of clothes fitting could be said to be perfect. After she wore it, it also added a bit of elegant charm, which was very pleasing to the eye. Jiang Rui looked at Charlotte and giggled. "Lazy, have you ever peeped at me when I'm bathing or something?" Charlotte was stunned for a moment. "Don't talk nonsense. When did I peep at you when you were bathing?" "You didn't peep at me when I was bathing. How could you know the size of my body so clearly? The dress you bought for me is too big and too thin. How can there be such a coincidence?" Charlotte coughed dryly. "I asked the shopping guide to help me choose it. As soon as I described your figure, she recommended this one. She is very professional." The real situation was that there was no shopping guide. He had seen Jiang Rui's body several times, and he knew her size better than Jiang Rui herself. He was buying a dress for her. How could he buy it big or small? Liang Xiao was also in the same situation, but Liang Xiao did not ask him like this. Jiang Rui turned around, exposing her snow-white back in front of Charlotte. "Help me zip it up." Charlotte took a look and suddenly found that there was no bra strap on Jiang Rui's back, and a part of the ball was clearly visible under her armpit. He said awkwardly, "Why don't you wear a bra? Are you stupid? This kind of dress doesn't need a bra." Jiang Rui did not feel embarrassed at all. She urged, "Hurry up and zip it up for me. You won't take the opportunity to peep again, right?" Charlotte muttered, "Do I still need to peep? I've already seen it." "What did you say?" "Oh, I said your figure's really good." "Huh, hurry up." With the previous experience, Charlotte was very careful this time. He made sure that the zipper did not bite Jiang Rui's underwear before he pulled it up. He smoothly helped Jiang Rui to zip it up. Jiang Rui took a selfie stick and took a selfie, then sent the photo to WeChat Moments. Charlotte said, "How much did you buy the selfie stick for?" 88 yuan. "If you want it, I will refund you 100 yuan, then I will buy a new one." Jiang Rui said. Charlotte was speechless and said, "The dress I gave you is also 2,000 yuan. Okay? You have the nerve to ask me for 100 yuan?" Jiang Rui smiled and said, "I am joking with you. If you like it, then take it. Anyway, I have taken enough. Those old ladies—" "Oh, they sent me a message asking who is the person next to me. How should I answer?" Charlotte looked at the phone screen. He found that he was in every selfie photo taken by Jiang Rui. And a few women who were as young as Jiang Rui were asking who he was. Looking at their profile pictures, one of them was a policewoman. At this time, Jiang Rui quickly typed 2 words on the screen, boyfriend. A few women then sent more messages. "Damn, when did you find such a handsome boyfriend? Vicious. You actually didn't bring him out to see. I want to steal your boyfriend. Do you want it? I will use a voucher to exchange with you." These words made Charlotte not know whether to laugh or cry. He then looked away and pretended not to see the messages sent by these women. He said, "Rui, lend me the selfie stick. I will return it to you tomorrow." "Where are you going?" Jiang Rui's fingers were busy. "Of course, I'm going home. Do you think I will spend the night at your house?" Charlotte said. Jiang Rui rolled her eyes at Charlotte. "You really bought me a dress for a purpose. You're really bad." Charlotte, when he returned home, a cold and cheerless feeling hit him. No one cleaned the house for more than a month, and the furniture was sprinkled with a thin layer of dust. Charlotte went to the TV cabinet and wiped the family photo frame with a rag. The glass bottle behind the family photo frame was still there, and the pill was quietly lying at the bottom of the glass bottle, giving people a feeling that there was a story behind it. At this time, Xiaolei's eyes suddenly fell on the bottom of the glass bottle, and a Russian word entered his sight. "Oh, estiro." It meant to be careful. More than a month ago, when he was tracking the mysterious man in the cafe, the man left this Russian word on the coffee table. Now, he actually saw the same Russian word in his house, which meant that the man had been to his house. Charlotte's mind was in turmoil. Is he really my father? But why doesn't he meet me? Who is he? The face of the mysterious man appeared in his mind again, and his eyes also moved to the family photo of his father, Xia Changhe. The 2 faces silently overlapped in his left eye, and the similarity was 100%. That night, Charlotte was destined to have insomnia. Chapter 141. The next day, when Charlotte came to the company, his eyes were red. He almost didn't sleep all night. He rummaged through the things left by his father, Xia Changhe, trying to find some clues, but it was all in vain. The more the mysterious man was like his father, the more he couldn't understand why his father didn't go home or even meet him. As long as he didn't meet the mysterious man, he couldn't get the answer to this question. However, Charlotte solved an urgent problem, which is a selfie stick that could be bent. In one night, he completed the design of the selfie stick. The selfie stick, which he upgraded, was more compact and could be put in a trouser pocket, but could reach a length of 2 meters after stretching, and it could be bent to meet all the needs of selfie lovers. If a selfie lover wanted to take a picture of the back of his head, he could easily do it with this selfie stick. If he wanted to take a picture of the scenery inside the wall, this selfie stick that could stretch up to 2 meters could also meet the needs and be easily done. When Charlotte told Liang Xiao about the idea of producing a selfie stick, Liang Xiao happily agreed with his idea. "This plan is much better than shopping carts," Liang Xiao said excitedly. "Most people who buy shopping carts are old people. Young people don't even bother to look at shopping carts, let alone buy them. But selfie sticks are very popular among young people. If we make it better than others, it will definitely sell well." Charlotte said, "There's one more thing. This kind of selfie stick that can bend 360 degrees doesn't exist on the market at present. My design is also very unique. I intend to apply for a patent and make this product unique to us." "Apply for a patent? Is that okay?" Charlotte said with a smile. "Of course it's okay, but not at the Haizhu City Patent Office. I'll call Long Bing and ask her to help. With her help, I don't want to go to the patent office. Haizhu City is so small, and I don't want others to know about our plan. Going to the Haiju City Patent Office to apply for a patent might be difficult, and it was more likely that the secret would be leaked. To put it bluntly, this kind of selfie stick that could bend was just a small idea. There was no technological content, and people could make it just by looking at the blueprint. In order to avoid these troubles, Charlotte thought of asking Longbing for help. The last patent application for Liu Ying's automatic surfboard was also handled by Longbing. I agree with the patent application, but will they be willing to help us? Liang Xiao had some doubts about this. Xiao Lei said, compared to what I've done for them, my request is just a small request. If I don't even help them with this small matter, I'll pretend that I don't know if they need my help in the future. Senior sister, you don't have to worry about this. Let's do it separately. You can make a few copies of the blueprint and give one to each workshop director. From today onwards, our company will be producing this kind of selfie stick. We have to rush out a batch of goods as soon as possible. Okay, I'll go right away. Liang Xiao picked up the drawings and went to work. Charlotte began to prepare the patent application materials. After he was ready, he dialed Longbing's number. Before he could speak, Longbing's voice came over. You took the initiative to call me. You must want me to help you with something. Tell me, what's the matter? Charlotte was a little speechless. How did you know that I'm looking for you for help? Don't tell me you're calling to invite me for coffee. Charlotte smiled. The next time you come to Haiju, I'll invite you for coffee. This time, I really want to ask for your help. I have an idea for a selfie stick, and I want to apply for a patent. I need your help. You know, I have hundreds of people under me. Now the company's business is not good, and I can't even feed myself. Wait, did you say selfie stick? Longbing's voice was full of curiosity. Didn't you already have that thing? Nowadays, many young people play with it. They take pictures all day long. Such a common thing. Are you sure it's your idea? Charlotte said, the selfie stick I designed can be bent 360 degrees. Have you seen it? I haven't seen it. I'll fax the patent application materials to you. Can you help me? Longbing was silent for a moment and said, if it can be bent, it should be no problem. Fax it to me, and I'll show it to Mr. Sher. He'll approve it for you today. Thank you. Charlotte breathed a sigh of relief and said tentatively, I don't need Mr. Sher's help, right? Longbing said, you're applying for a patent in the Capital Patent Office. I don't have the power to help you. Last time, I actually asked Mr. Sher to help you. You're now a popular person in his eyes, and he'll be happy to help you. What do you mean by popular? Thank you. Please convey my gratitude to Boss Sher. It's no big deal. With your contribution this time, even if you say that you invented the kitchen knife, he can help you get patent. She actually made such a joke? Charlotte, well, if there's a product, send me one by express delivery. Okay, no problem. Is there anything else? If not, I'll hang up. Before Charlotte spoke, Longbing hung up the phone. This matter was settled. Charlotte knew that the more Sherborne helped him, the more he owed Sherborne. The most difficult thing to repay was the debt of gratitude. In the future, he would naturally have to do things for Sherborne. But this was not a big deal. What Sherborne asked him to do was to serve the country. Although this country was not perfect and had all kinds of shortcomings, after all, she was the mother of all Chinese. If he had the ability to make her better and stronger, it was actually a very noble thing. After settling the patent application, Charlotte went to the workshop to have a look. Several workshops were already preparing the materials to produce the selfie stick that he designed. Several workshops were also busy with the production. The shopping cart product did not stop, and there were also workers producing it. Although the profit was not as good as the profit of the selfie stick, it still existed in the market. A company needed to diversify its products. Lima Manufacturing now had 2 products, which was a good start. After coming out of the workshop, Charlotte plunged into his exclusive workshop and started to manufacture smart machine tools. Compared with the shopping cart and the selfie stick, this smart machine tool was the trump card of Lima Manufacturing Company. While Charlotte was busy in his workshop, Liang Xiao was also working nonstop. After the first selfie stick was produced, she brought it to Charlotte's workshop. Both of them were satisfied with the selfie stick produced by the workers. However, a new problem was placed in front of the two. The product was produced, but how to sell it? In this world, it was not that your product could be sold just because it was good. Advertising, relationships, and connections were all important. Lima Manufacturing Company did not have either of these two conditions. Our customers and sales channels are too few. This kind of selfie stick is very easy to produce. A worker can produce 20 to 30 sticks in a day. We can produce about 2,000 sticks in a day. Our inventory will suddenly increase. In this way, our funds and materials will soon be exhausted. Therefore, the sales problem must be solved, and it must be fast. Liang Xiao said. Charlotte thought for a moment, and his eyebrows slightly wrinkled. This kind of product, we can sell some in our own supermarket, but the sales are almost negligible. This kind of product is sold on the internet. I don't know if we can go through the online sales channel. Are you talking about opening an online store? Liang Xiao followed and shook her head. Opening an online store is very complicated. A new online store will not have a good reputation and repeat customers, so it will be difficult to open up the sales channel. Another problem is that we currently only have two kinds of products. Which online store does not have a lot of products on the shelves? Charlotte said, I am not interested in opening an online store. I mean, we can sell the product to the websites. Doesn't JD.com have a self-operated platform? We could try it. We can also sell to the big online stores. Our product is very novel, and it can fill the gap in the selfie market. I think the e-commerce companies and online stores will definitely be interested. This idea is not bad. I will immediately contact JD.com, and I will ask the guys and girls in the sales department to get into action. Let them contact those big online stores. Liang Xiao said and left. She looked very excited and anxious. Charlotte watched her walk out of the studio. He secretly thought, after I make money this time, I must buy her a car. She has paid too much. Liang Xiao suddenly turned back. I suddenly remembered. Isn't Monk a professional bodyguard? I heard from him that his boss seems to be a shareholder of JD.com and has a say in the board of directors. We can only call the lower-level staff of JD.com. We are begging them. The price is certainly not easy to negotiate. Even if we can negotiate, the process will be very troublesome. Why don't I ask Monk and see what he says? Monk was Lu Sheng's nickname, and he was also Liang Zhengquan's disciple. When Xiaolei first went to Liang Zhengquan's boxing club to learn Wing Chun, Liang Zhengquan found him an eyesore. The two of them even had a fight. In the end, Xiaolei defeated him, and they even became friends. Lu Sheng's tower-like appearance appeared in Charlotte's mind. The corner of his mouth also showed a trace of smile. I haven't heard him talk about his boss's situation, but in this case, it will be much better than contacting the staff of JD.com. However, I know that Lu Sheng likes you. Will it be awkward? Liang Xiao suddenly threw a supercilious look at Charlotte. He likes me. Will it be awkward for us to be together? Then will it be awkward for us to be together? Is this a question? But there is an ambiguous part in this question. Is it her who likes Charlotte, or Charlotte who likes her? Perhaps realizing that her words are embarrassing, Liang Xiao's jade dimples quietly blushed. Without waiting for Charlotte to answer her question, she turned around and walked out. As she walked, she said, Don't worry about this. I will arrange it. You will accompany me when the time comes. Charlotte responded, but he was thinking about a question in his heart. Will it be awkward when I am with her? It won't be awkward, right? Then, the scene of him pulling the zipper of her skirt but tearing off a piece of her underwear appeared in his mind. It turned out to be a little awkward. Chapter 142. The patent was approved on the same day. This was probably a hidden benefit for Charlotte as a consultant for 101 innings. The trademark of the selfie stick was also registered, and the name was Beauty. After these things were done, the sales staff of Lima Manufacturing Company were also busy looking for sales channels for the two products of Lima Manufacturing Company. Beauty Supermarket naturally became the touchstone of new products of Lima Manufacturing Company. Qin Xiang opened a special counter for the selfie stick and arranged people to promote it. As a result, the hundreds of selfie sticks on the counter that day were sold out. Most of the people who bought this kind of selfie stick were young people, and there were also middle-aged consumers, but the number was not large. This also confirmed Liang Xiao's initial judgment that this was a very fashionable and young product. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Lei Zi, come with me after work. In the office, Liang Xiao said, I have made an appointment with Lu Sheng. His boss agreed to meet us. The place is at his home. His home? Charlotte said, I thought it would be a hotel. In this case, we can also treat him to a meal. Liang Xiao said, I think so too, but this is his decision, and I can't do anything about it. Lu Sheng is just his bodyguard, and he can't talk to him. I don't think it's a big deal. What's the name of Lu Sheng's boss? His name is Zhang Senator. He is very young and very capable. In his 30s, his assets have already exceeded 100 million yuan. Charlotte smiled and said, he is really amazing. He is so successful in his 30s. Liang Xiao stared at Charlotte and said, I think you are better than him. Me? Charlotte said, don't joke around. How can I compare with him? If I were better than him, I wouldn't ask him for help. He should ask me for help. Success or failure can't be measured by whether or not we ask for help from others. Liang Xiao said with a smile, do you know why I don't go to work for those big companies in groups, but follow you? Charlotte was slightly stunned. I'm your junior brother. If you don't help me, who will? We are family. That's one reason. Liang Xiao blushed inexplicably when she said this, and then said, another reason is that you are very creative. I see the shadow of some legendary entrepreneurs in you, such as Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They were in a similar situation as you are now. They also started from scratch and built their own empires bit by bit. You're comparing me to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs? You think too highly of me. Charlotte smiled. However, if I can reach their level, I will give you whatever you want. Really? Of course it's real. I want the stars. Then, let's charter a spaceship and go to space to look at the stars. I want the castle. Then I will buy you a piece of land and build a castle for you. I want a prince. Then Charlotte couldn't continue. Even Bill Gates couldn't buy a prince. Liang Xiao blinked her big bright eyes, curled her lips, and said, there is no prince if there is a castle. It's boring. Then I will have a house full of children and grandchildren. Charlotte, how can this wish be fulfilled? Liang Xiao giggled and said, well, I won't tease you anymore. I will go to the workshop to get the samples. You go take a shower and change your clothes. Let's go. After Liang Xiao left, Charlotte also left the studio and went to the bathroom to take a shower. It was impossible to meet someone like Zhang San with oil stains all over his body. An hour later, Charlotte and Liang Xiao drove to a seaside villa. Rich people like to live in the suburbs with beautiful scenery and like to live by the sea. Zhang San seemed to be no exception. They saw Lu Sheng standing at the door from a distance. He was wearing a black suit and a pair of black sunglasses. There was also a spring-shaped headset cable for a communicator in his ear. He looked like a CIA agent in a Hollywood movie. Charlotte, who was driving, saw Lu Sheng through the windshield and couldn't help but say, Brother Lu is very cool. He was born to be a professional bodyguard. Do you want to hire one too? Liang Xiao said with a smile. But I guess you will hire a beautiful woman as a bodyguard, right? Charlotte said with a smile, I am your father's last disciple. My fists and feet are my bodyguards. Why would I need a bodyguard? The car approached the gate. Lu Sheng opened the door for Charlotte and then told Charlotte where to park the car. Charlotte parked the car and got out with Liang Xiao. He greeted Lu Sheng kindly. Brother Lu, I have troubled you this time. Lu Sheng smiled and said, You are welcome. We are fellow disciples. You are welcome. Monk, you look very handsome in this outfit, Liang Xiao said with a smile. Lu Sheng said awkwardly, Xiao, don't make fun of me. My boss told me to wear it. I like loose clothes, and this suit is very tight on me. It's uncomfortable. He then said, All right, let's talk later. I'll take you to see my boss now. Lu Sheng took Charlotte and Liang Xiao into the villa and then went to the rooftop on the 3rd floor. There was even a swimming pool on the rooftop of the 3rd floor, as well as a glass balcony facing the sea. When Charlotte and Liang Xiao followed Lu Sheng to the rooftop on the 3rd floor, several young women in bikinis were playing cards with a young man by the pool. Behind the young man and a few young women stood a bodyguard in a suit and leather shoes with a serious expression. Lu Shang said in a low voice, "The person playing cards is my boss. You go ahead. I have to go down." After saying that, he went downstairs again. At this time, Zhang Sun suddenly laughed. "You lost. Come here." A woman who lost the bet looked unhappy, but she still obediently walked in front of Zhang's senator. She bowed down facing the pool, straightened her legs, and raised her buttocks high. This was the posture of a diver. Zhang Sun suddenly slapped the woman's buttocks and then kicked her. The woman screamed and plunged into the pool. This scene stunned Charlotte. Zhang Sun was too good at playing, wasn't he? A look of disgust flashed in Liang Xiao's eyes. Charlotte seemed to feel the emotional change in Liang Xiao. He said softly, "If you don't like it, you can go down and wait for me. I will talk to him." Liang Xiao nodded. "Okay, I will go down and talk to the monk." After Liang Xiao left, Charlotte walked to the pool. He was also thinking about how to communicate with people like Senator Zhang Sun had already seen Charlotte and Liang Xiao coming up, but he didn't get up to greet them. When Charlotte walked to the pool, he pushed the thousands of yuan in front of him to the women who were playing cards with him. "I don't want to play anymore. You could take this money and share it." "Thank you, brother senior." The women thanked him in a coquettish voice and went down with the money. The woman who had just climbed out of the water passed by Charlotte and quietly winked at Charlotte. The wet bikini, the curves on her breasts, and the dent between her legs were clearly visible. It was very seductive, but Xiaolei didn't feel anything at all, let alone being seduced and using his left eye to see through it. Charlotte walked to Zhang Sun and said politely with a smile, "Mr. Zhang, my name is Charlotte." "I am here." Zhang Sun interrupted Charlotte's words. "I know what you are here for. Is it Miss Liang who came with you? Do you know her? I heard Lu Sheng talk about her, so I know a little." Lu Sheng said, "She is a Wing Chun master, right?" Charlotte said, "She is my senior sister. She is indeed very powerful." "So you're also very powerful?" A strange light flashed in Zhang Sen's eyes. "Not bad." Charlotte said, "Mr. Zhang, your place is very beautiful. It is enviable." The other party was not in a hurry to talk about business, and he was not in a hurry either. In the 5 years of struggling at the bottom of society, he had received all kinds of cold treatment. This cold treatment was nothing. Zhang Sun did not invite Charlotte to take a seat. He waved his hand, and the bodyguard standing behind him followed him. "Mr. Xia, my bodyguard came from Thailand. He is very good at Muay Thai. How about you compete with my bodyguard? If you win, I will put your selfie stick on the internet and open a special counter for you. What do you think?" Zhang Sun said. Charlotte's eyebrows suddenly raised slightly. He suppressed the anger in his heart. "Mr. Zhang, I am here to talk to you about business, not to compete. If you look down on me and my small company, you can tell me clearly. I will leave now and will not disturb you." Zhang Sun slanted the corner of his mouth at his bodyguard. This was a hint. Zhang Sun's Thai bodyguard suddenly raised his leg. One of his long legs was like a bow that was suddenly pulled to the limit, and it was aimed at Charlotte's neck. Charlotte's heart was angry. He did not retreat. His left hand blocked the Thai bodyguard's leg attack, and his right fist attacked the Thai bodyguard's legs. That part was the closest to him, and it was the most effective. The Thai bodyguard did not expect Charlotte's reaction to be so fast. He hurriedly reached out to block Charlotte's right fist. However, Xiaolei's right fist was simply too fast. He barely managed to block Xiaolei's fist, but Xiaolei's fist managed to push his palm to the area between his thighs. At that moment, the huge impact made his mouth suddenly open into an O shape. Charlotte rushed forward and pushed out his palms at the same time. "Go!" The Thai bodyguard's body suddenly lost balance and fell into the pool with a splash. Muay Thai was much worse than Wing Chun. Not to mention, although this Thai bodyguard's sneak attack speed was fast, it was not faster than Charlotte's left eye. "Good. You're really good." Zhang Sun clapped his hands and looked very excited. "If you fight with Miss Liang, who will win? I want to be friends with Miss Liang. I don't know if you can introduce us." "I like." Before he finished, Charlotte suddenly reached out his hand, grabbed his collar, and threw him into the pool. Gulp. Caught off guard, Zhang Sun choked on a mouthful of water. He popped his head out of the water and pointed at Xiaolei. "How dare you?" Charlotte reached out and grabbed Zhang Sun's finger. "You can be disrespectful to me, but you can't be disrespectful to my senior sister. If you say a dirty word to her, I'll break your finger." Zhang Sun's Thai bodyguard nervously swam over, ready to save him. Charlotte glared at him. "You stay here. If you want her boss to break a finger, you can do it." The Thai bodyguard stayed in the water, not daring to move. Zhang Sun froze for a moment and smiled bitterly. "I really just want to be friends with her. Why did you hit me? I've liked kung fu since I was a child, but I can't learn it." Charlotte then let go of Zhang Sun's finger. If Zhang Sun was just giving him a bad attitude, looking down on him, and teasing him, he could endure it for the sake of business. Nowadays, in order to open up sales and get orders, many small companies would even let their female employees sleep with their clients. For the sake of the company's development, it was not a big deal for him to be humiliated. However, Liang Xiao was different. He regarded Liang Zhengchun as his father, and Liang Xiao was also his sister, his family. No one could humiliate her, even if it was not a business deal. This seemed very reckless and even stupid, but if a man didn't have a backbone, could he still be called a man? Therefore, he did not regret it at all. Chapter 143. The two men on the shore and in the water stared at each other silently. It was not difficult to guess Zhang Sun's thoughts. He was young and rich. He had never been treated like this. He was grabbed by the collar and thrown into the swimming pool in his own home. He was angry, but he was not stupid. If someone dared to do this, then they must have the confidence to do so. Moreover, he was indeed rude first. He could not help but guess Charlotte's background and Charlotte's character. The more he guessed, the more interesting he felt. Charlotte's thoughts were very simple. He was just considering whether or not to leave. He did not expect people to open the door for him after throwing someone into the swimming pool. He directly asked the purchasing department of Jingdong to buy the selfie stick from Lima Manufacturing Company. The two men, each with their own thoughts. At this moment, Zhang Sun suddenly reached out to Charlotte. "Pull me." Xiaolei was stunned for a moment, but the corner of his eyes fell on the escalator that was only 2 meters away from Zhang Senator. When he saw the escalator, he immediately reacted. This was Zhang Sun giving them a way out. Charlotte reached out and grabbed Zhang Sun's hand. He pulled Zhang Sun out of the pool and then tentatively said, "Mr. Zhang, I'm sorry. I went a bit too far." Since Zhang Sun gave him a way out, he also had to give him a way out. Zhang Sun sneered. "Is this how you willing people do business? It's really unbearable." Charlotte just smiled and did not say anything. At this time, Liang Xiao and Lu Sheng ran up the stairs. The two looked at the wet Zhang Sun and the Thai bodyguard who had just climbed out of the pool. They were stunned for a moment. When Zhang Sun saw Liang Xiao, his face suddenly revealed a smile. He did not care if he was in a mess or not. He very gracefully said, "Hello, Miss Liang. I have long heard of your name. It's a pity that I have not had the opportunity to meet you. I wonder if I can do you the honor and get to know you." "Hello, Mr. Zhang. I am just Mr. Xiao's assistant." Liang Xiao said, "I know you are from the same sect. You both practice Wing Chun." Zhang Sun smiled and said, "Well, let's go to the living room to talk. I accidentally fell into the water. I have to change." Since Zhang Sun said that, Charlotte couldn't point it out in front of him. After Zhang Sun left the rooftop with the Thai bodyguard who also fell into the pool, he whispered a few words to Liang Xiao. "Huh?" Liang Xiao looked surprised. "You?" Charlotte smiled bitterly and shrugged. He still couldn't figure out whether he did the right thing or the wrong thing. Liang Xiao chuckled and pinched Charlotte's waist. She clicked her tongue and said, "I only said one bad thing about me, and you threw me into the pool? Why are you so nervous about me?" Charlotte was about to say something when Lu Sheng coughed awkwardly. "Let's go down." "Well, okay." Liang Xiao inexplicably became very happy. Her face was full of smiles, and she skipped as she walked, like a 17-year-old girl who had her first awakening of love. Seeing her so happy, Charlotte suddenly felt that even if the business was ruined, it would be worth it. In this world, there were many things that couldn't be bought with money. In a room of the villa, Zhang Sun was standing naked in the room. A short-haired woman came in with a set of clothes. She was tall and had delicate facial features. Her short hair made her look more valiant. Zhang Sun said, "Shangnan, you actually saw him throw me into the pool just now, right?" This woman's surname was Guan, and Shangnan was her name. More than 10 years ago, when she was a wandering child on the street, Zhang Sen's father took her back to the Zhang family. He gave her food, clothes, supported her to study abroad, and hired the best fighting experts to train her. There was no question about her loyalty to the Zhang family. Therefore, she was not only Zhang Sen's personal bodyguard, but also Zhang Sen's indispensable assistant. She was involved in every important decision that Zhang Sun made. "I saw on the monitor," Guan Shangnan said lightly. "But even if I came up, it would be useless. I'm no match for him." Zhang Sun frowned slightly. "You just watched him throw me into the pool? I lost all my face." "He was actually very polite to you," Guan Shangnan said. Zhang Sun seemed to have heard something from Guan Xingnan's words. "What do you know about this person?" Huang Yihu was defeated by him. "What?" Zhang Sun looked surprised. "Are you surprised? What I want to tell you is that he won't even give face to Gu Qian. For a widow named Lu Ying, he directly fell out with Gu Qian and snatched the patent of the automatic surfboard." Huh. Zhang Sun couldn't close his mouth. Although he failed in the end, Gu Qian still hasn't caused trouble for him. "That's impossible. I know very well what kind of person Gu Qian is. She's the kind of woman who would cut off that person's entire arm if someone poked her. With such a big grudge, how could she not make a move on him? Although his martial arts are very powerful, it's nothing in the eyes of people at Gu Qian's level." Guan Shangnan said, "Gu Qian doesn't dare to make a move on him. I don't know the specific reason. I only heard that he has a noble in the capital to protect him, and that his company almost always takes orders from the Shenzhou Industry Group." Zhang Sun pondered for a moment. "Tell me, should I make friends with this person or not?" "It's good to make friends with him, and it's good not to make friends with him," Guan Shangnan said. Zhang Sun said, "Aren't you talking nonsense?" Guan Shangnan said, "If you make friends with him, you'll be making an investment with huge potential. In the future, you may get unimaginable benefits. He's very capable, and he has a noble in the capital. Even a defense industry group like the Shenzhou Industry Group has placed orders with his company. He is indeed a dark horse. It's hard to estimate the future benefits of investing in such a person. I, Zhang Sun, have never refused such an investment. Tell me more about the disadvantages of making friends with him. I want to hear your opinion." Zhang Sun looked straight at Guan Shengnan. He didn't have any clothes on, but he was very calm. Facing Zhang Sen's naked body, Guan Shengnan's expression was even calmer than Zhang Sen's. "You see, he's like an untamed wild horse. If he comes to you and begs you, he'll throw you into the swimming pool. His personality and the way he does things are difficult to control. What's more, he has a rival like Gu Qian. If Gu Qian finds out that you're making friends with him and helping him, it's equivalent to standing on the opposite side of Gu Qian." The corner of Zhang Sen's mouth revealed a strange smile. "Gu Qian? She's indeed a very difficult opponent to deal with. The Gu family is definitely a colossus, and my Zhang family is definitely not a match for the Gu family. However, if we were to really fight, my Zhang family is not at the mercy of others. She will also think twice." "So you've decided?" Guan Shengnan asked. Zhang Sun said with a smile, "Our Zhang family plays in the capital operation, and venture capital is also our Zhang family strength. My dad told me the greater the risk, the greater the reward. I'm definitely making friends with Charlotte. I'll treat it as a venture capital investment. What if Gu Qian is unhappy? I'll pretend I don't know about the mess between her and Charlotte. Besides, I'm just helping him find a sales platform. If she wants to interfere with this, isn't that too much? Well, get dressed, and then I'll accompany you to see him." Guan Shengnan moved closer. She first helped Zhang Sun put on his underwear. In the living room, Charlotte and Liang Xiao were whispering to each other. He's not messing with us, is he? Charlotte whispered in Liang Xiao's ear. I just treated him like that. He probably won't cooperate with us anymore. Let's wait a little longer. What if he changes his mind? If we leave now, we might miss a very good opportunity. Liang Xiao whispered in Charlotte's ear. Her voice was soft. Charlotte sighed softly. Then let's wait a little longer. Liang Xiao pursed her lips and smiled. Do you regret it? Charlotte was slightly stunned, then said, I don't regret it. In your heart. Am I that important? Liang Xiao's voice became even quieter. Next to them, Lu Sheng, who was standing like a pine tree, couldn't stand it anymore. He simply turned his head to the side. He liked Liang Xiao, and Liang Xiao was even more intimate with Charlotte. He was very excited. However, he was also a man who could take it up and let it go. He didn't hate Charlotte because he knew that this had nothing to do with Charlotte. Feelings couldn't be forced. Charlotte was about to speak when Zhang Sun and Guan Shengnan walked out of the staircase. Zhang Sun had a kind smile on his face. Sorry to have kept you two waiting. Charlotte and Liang Xiao stood up from the sofa as a sign of respect for the host. Sit, sit, sit. You're welcome. This is my assistant, Miss Guan Shengnan. Zhang Sun introduced Guan Shengnan to the two of them. Hello, Miss Guan, Charlotte said politely. Hello, Miss Guan. Liang Xiao also greeted her. Hello, Mr. Xiao, Miss Liang. Sit down. I'll make tea for you. Guan Shengnan said, then gave Lu Sheng and the Thai bodyguard a look. Lu Sheng and the Thai bodyguard followed her out of the living room. Charlotte's heart moved. Just from that look, he could see that this Guan Shengnan was definitely not as simple as Zhang Sen's assistant. Guan Shengnan quickly made 4 cups of tea. She also had a cup for herself. Then, she sat next to Zhang Sun and quietly stared at Charlotte. Liang Xiao was also a very eye-catching existence, but she didn't look at her more than once. The unpleasant things from before seemed to be over, and the atmosphere in the living room was very harmonious. The 4 of them drank tea and chatted, and no one mentioned the unpleasant things from before. After half a cup of tea, Charlotte went straight to the point. Mr. Zhang, I'm actually here this time to Mr. Xia. Zhang Sun interrupted Charlotte and said with a smile, I know what you're here for. No problem. I'll call Jingdong's purchasing department later and ask them to send someone to your company to see the goods. Then, I'll open a counter for you and promote it. As long as your goods are good, it won't be a problem to sell well. He was so straightforward that Charlotte and Liang Xiao were a little uncomfortable. The two of them couldn't help but look at each other, wondering what Zhang San was up to. What? Don't you believe what I said? No, no, no. Of course I believe Mr. Zhang. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to you. Charlotte said a little awkwardly. It's just that something unpleasant happened just now. I didn't expect Mr. Zhang to be so willing to help. I'm a little not used to it. Zhang Sun chuckled. I won't take that little thing to heart. Men don't get to know each other without fighting. In the future, don't mention it again. Charlotte also showed a smile. I won't mention it. Liang Xiao tentatively said, Mr. Zhang, we won't let you help us for free. Tell us, how much commission do you want? We'll give you a commission based on the number of sales on the website. Zhang Sun frowned. Am I helping you for money? This. He didn't want money. Liang Xiao didn't know what to say. Zhang Sun suddenly smiled and said, I'm helping you because I treat you as friends. To be honest, I like the two of you. I want to be friends with you. I don't know if I have the honor to be your friend. Charlotte and Liang Xiao looked at each other. Charlotte then reached out to Zhang Sr., were already friends. Zhang Sun held Charlotte's hand and laughed exaggeratedly. Chapter 144. It was already very late when they left Zhang Sen's house. Charlotte and Liang Xiao both drank a lot of alcohol. Charlotte was fine and could barely drive, but Liang Xiao was drunk. She swayed before getting into the car, and Charlotte had to support her before she could get into the car. Charlotte drove the car out of Zhang Sen's villa and stopped before entering the main road. He wanted to take a break and leave when his face was not so red. If he entered the city like this, he would definitely be stopped by the traffic police to test his alcohol concentration. Once the test was done, he would definitely lose his driver's license. Liang Xiao leaned softly on the sofa in the front passenger seat. Her cheeks and neck were full of drunkenness. Under the office lady uniform skirt, a pair of beautiful legs were exposed to the air, and the flesh-colored stockings were like a second layer of skin. She looked very quiet and beautiful. Charlotte looked at her, and she also looked at Charlotte. Her eyes were hazy from drunkenness. There was a faint smile on her lips from beginning to end. No one knew why she was so happy about something. "Senior sister, what do you think is going on with that Zhang's son?" Charlotte broke the silence in the car. "Even if he doesn't care about me, throwing him into the swimming pool, and wants to cooperate with us, he doesn't even want a commission. If our company is sold in Jingdong, he will lose a lot of money. Why do you think he is doing this?" Liang Xiao shook her head, and her big eyes were hazy. I don't know. I know." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Do you know or not?" "I want to pee." Liang Xiao scratched her skirt, looking very anxious. Charlotte said awkwardly, "Senior sister, don't make trouble. You sleep for a while, and then I will send you home." "I want to pee." Liang Xiao opened the door, got out of the car, and staggered to the side of the road. Charlotte was worried that she would fall, so he also got out of the car. He supported Liang Xiao and wanted her to stand firm, but Liang Xiao continued to drag him to the side of the road. There was a stretch of beach by the side of the road. Liang Xiao staggered to the beach, pulled down a red lace, and squatted on the ground. Charlotte was so embarrassed that he quickly turned around. But at this moment, he suddenly felt heat in his shoes. Charlotte knew very well what it was. The strange smell made him not know whether to laugh or cry. As a man, his physiological reaction made him feel unbearably hot, and he couldn't help but have some charming and gentle associations in his mind. Who are you?" Liang Xiao mumbled, her pair of soft hands scratching Charlotte's trousers. This was a very simple question, but Charlotte's tongue seemed to be tied into a knot, unable to speak. "You're shameless. Look at people peeing." Liang Xiao grabbed Charlotte's trousers and climbed up. Then she stretched out a finger and scratched Charlotte's cheek. "Shameful, you'll get a needle hole." "Stop it, senior sister, let's get in the car. I'll take you home." Charlotte decided that it didn't matter even if his driver's license was confiscated by the traffic police. If this went on and they were discovered by passers-by, it would be a big embarrassment. He pulled Liang Xiao to the side of the road, but after 2 steps, Liang Xiao staggered and fell to the ground. He quickly hugged her, and then he realized that the red lace was still on her calf. But at this time, Liang Xiao fell asleep in his arms and slept very peacefully. "Senior sister, I didn't do it on purpose." Charlotte said this to himself. Then he braced himself and pulled up the red lace. He didn't know what role he was playing at the moment, and he couldn't explain the feeling. A few minutes later, Charlotte drove on the main road and went straight to Liang Xiao's house. When he arrived at the Liang family, he opened the door with the key that Liang Xiao gave him, and then carried her into her bedroom. Liang Xiao slept soundly. Charlotte covered her with the quilt and left her room. And a man's voice suddenly came from behind. Charlotte braced himself and turned around. He said respectfully, "Master, you haven't slept yet? You guys made such a big commotion, so I came out to take a look." Liang Zhengchun said. Then he looked at Charlotte's blushing face and frowned. "You guys drank?" Charlotte braced himself and said, "Senior sister and I went to meet an investor to find some sales channels to promote our company's products. Senior sister, she's drunk and has already fallen asleep." "Nonsense." Liang Zhengchun's expression was very serious. Is work more important or health more important? No matter how much money you have, if your health is gone, what's the use of earning more money? "I'm sorry, master, I was wrong. This kind of thing won't happen again in the future." Charlotte looked like he had learned something. Liang Zhengchun's gaze suddenly shifted to Charlotte's feet. He looked at Charlotte's wet trousers and frowned. "Why are your trousers wet? Did you fall into the water?" The scene on the beach suddenly appeared in Charlotte's mind. Liang Xiao was squatting beside him, and his trousers and shoes were wet because of Liang Xiao. His face suddenly turned red. Fortunately, his face was already very red, so it couldn't be seen even if it was a little redder. And yes, I was peeing by the side of the road and accidentally fell into a small ditch. Charlotte was also quite quick-witted, and he followed Liang Zhengquan's train of thought and explained. It was wrong to lie to Master, but he couldn't possibly say that senior sister peed, right? Forget it. I can't be bothered to talk to you. Go to the study and do the horse stance for an hour, then go to sleep. Liang Zhengquan said. Yes, Master. Charlotte couldn't wait to end this awkward conversation and hurriedly walked to the study. When he passed by, Liang Zhengquan's nose sniffed, and his face was full of suspicion. This smell? What did he fall into? After entering the study, Charlotte obediently did the horse stance for an hour. He was covered in sweat, and the alcohol in his body was also discharged along with the sweat. He felt completely relaxed. Then, he took a few books related to Chinese medicine from Liang Zhengquan's bookshelf and returned to the exclusive room that the Liang family had prepared for him. After taking a shower, Charlotte lay on the bed and flipped through the Chinese medicine books. Learning medical skills was an idea that sprouted in Germany, but he never had the time to read medical books. Most people who learned martial arts knew Chinese medicine theories, massage techniques, and acupuncture. This was because martial arts and Chinese medicine were the quintessence of China, and there were many interconnections between the two. It was a very simple example. It was impossible for people who practiced martial arts to not know the meridians and acupoints, and knowledge in this area was also the basic knowledge of acupuncture. Understanding the meridians and acupoints actually meant having the foundation of acupuncture, and it was very easy to learn it. The first book that Charlotte read was an acupuncture medical book. The speed at which Xia Lei learned acupuncture could only be described with the word terrifying. A picture of a whole body's acupoints and meridians was equivalent to him memorizing it all at a glance. As soon as he thought about it, the image appeared clearly in his mind without the slightest mistake. And he only needed to master the corresponding organs of these acupoints, the technique of inserting needles, the technique of exerting force, and so on. The Zhongting acupoint is here. Charlotte used his finger to press an acupoint on his chest, and then read the contents of the book. Mainly used for chest fullness, vomiting and nausea, inability to eat and drink, and choking. The method of operation is to stab 0, 3 to 0, 5 inches. He looked for the acupoints one by one, and then learned the corresponding organs and symptoms that could be treated. It was the first time for Charlotte to seriously learn Chinese medicine acupuncture, and he was unconsciously addicted to it, forgetting the existence of time. Later, he was so sleepy that he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Xia Lei had a dream. He dreamt of a beach. He dreamt of Liang Xiao. He dreamt of her fair and tender. Early the next morning, when Liang Xiao's voice came from the door, Charlotte bounced up from the bed like a spring. He looked down and then hurriedly pulled out a pair of underwear from the bedside table and ran to the bathroom. There seemed to be a tacit understanding between Liang Xiao and Charlotte that they would not talk about what happened last night. After breakfast, Liang Zhengquan said, "Take me to the Cultural Bureau." Liang Xiao asked curiously, "Dad, you usually go to the boxing club. Why do you want to go to the Cultural Bureau today? What's the matter?" Liang Zhengquan said, "The Cultural Bureau sent me an invitation. It said that they want to promote traditional culture and hold a Wulin assembly. It is said that many martial arts families and some sects will participate. I also want to see it. After all, we are the direct descendants of Wing Chun Kung Fu. Although not many people are willing to believe in martial arts now, I want to do my best to show the charm of our Wing Chun Kung Fu at the assembly." "Well, this is a big deal. I support you," Liang Xiao said with a smile. Charlotte also said, "Master, if you need me to do anything, just tell me." Liang Zhengquan rolled his eyes at Charlotte and said, "You are so busy. I dare not ask you to leave your company and participate in some Wulin assembly." "Master." Charlotte was very embarrassed, but he never refuted what Liang Zhengquan said. Liang Zhengquan smiled and said, Okay, I know you are working hard. Although you don't practice boxing every day, you have made great progress. Last night, you read medical books until midnight, and I know that. This Willeen assembly is mostly a leisure meeting. I can go. You do your own thing. If I really need you to do something, I will tell you. Charlotte smiled and said, Okay, Master, we will take you to the Cultural Bureau first, and then to the company. Charlotte drove Liang Zhengchun to the Municipal Cultural Bureau, and then drove Liang Xiao to Lima Manufacturing Company. When Liang Zhengchun was in the car, Liang Xiao was serious, but after Liang Zhengchun got out of the car, she was not right. When Charlotte was waiting for the traffic light at the intersection, she suddenly reached out and pinched Charlotte's thigh hard. Then she did not say anything and stared at Charlotte fiercely. Sister, what are you doing? Charlotte said with some guilt. Humph. Last night I was drunk. What did you do to me? Liang Xiao was still very fierce. Of course I sent you home. I didn't do anything. You are lying. When I woke up this morning, I found that there was a lot of sand in my shoes, and there was the smell of urine on my stockings. Liang Xiao pinched Charlotte again. Were you drunk and peed on me? Charlotte, there's a kind of injustice called Do-E, but Charlotte felt that he was more wrong than Do-E. Next time when you're drunk, don't drive again. Do you understand? Liang Xiao suddenly cared about Charlotte. Charlotte bit the bullet and nodded. What is going on with that Zhang Sun last night? Liang Xiao's thoughts were jumping fast. He actually didn't want our commission. How can there be such a business in this world? Charlotte felt that time had turned back, and he went back to last night. Last night, he asked the same question to Liang Xiao, but the answer she gave him was that she peed on his pants and then framed him this morning. Now she asked the same question again. That feeling was really strange. Charlotte drove with his head down. Does he really just want to be friends with you? There is no such thing in this world. Let's wait and see. Charlotte's mind also returned to business. Based on the current situation, there is no harm to us. Who cares? Let's solve our current problem first. What gift? Charlotte thought for a moment and said, He definitely doesn't lack clothes or watches, and gold accessories are too tacky. Why don't you give him a bracelet of rosewood? Even a better one would cost tens of thousands. That's a good idea, but where can we buy it? I'll ask Long Bing to buy it for me. She has a friend who specializes in the antique business. She won't be able to buy fake goods, even if I ask her for help. If we spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy a fake one and give it to someone else, that would be shameful. Charlotte said. Liang Xiao pursed her lips. Long Bing again. Is she your mother? Go to her for anything. Charlotte, it was really nothing for him to ask Long Bing to do this. Compared to what he did for 101 innings, buying a rosewood tree was a trivial matter, let alone a bracelet of rosewood. However, there were some things that he couldn't explain. As soon as he explained, he would leak the secret. However, he only missed one point. It didn't matter to Liang Xiao, who he looked forward to by the rosewood bracelet. What was important was that she was jealous, but he didn't feel it. At this moment, Charlotte's cell phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar cell phone number. As soon as he answered, Charlotte heard Zhang Sin's recognizable voice. Brother Xia, where are you? Yesterday, it was still Mr. Xia. Today, it was Brother Xia. The relationship between the two seemed to have developed like a 100-meter sprint. I'm still at the company. Charlotte said, Brother Zhang, thank you. The people from Jingdong's purchasing department have come to sign the contract. Everything is settled. I just wanted to ask you out for a meal to thank you. I didn't expect Brother Zhang to call. Zhang Sin called him Brother Xia, so he naturally couldn't be distant. He called him with the word brother, which also acknowledged the brother relationship between the two. I say, why are you being so polite with me? Between the two of us, what's the difference between me treating you and you treating me? That's right, Charlotte laughed twice. He glanced at Liang Xiao, but Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at him. This is the case. Zhang Sun said, I asked a few friends to sing. You should come over and play. This. Charlotte hesitated. He had never been to a KTV, and he didn't know a single pop song. He felt that it would be a very embarrassing thing for him to sing. And I have a friend who is in the retail business. I talked to him about your selfie stick. He is very interested. You should come. Maybe this is a good deal, said Zhang Sr. Well, I will come. Where is it? Charlotte was tempted. Yilai Xiang KTV. I will ask Lu Shang to wait for you at the door. Okay, goodbye. Charlotte hung up the phone. What does Zhang Sen want from you? Asked Liang Xiao. Charlotte said. He said he invited me to KTV. I didn't want to go, but he said that he has a friend who is in the retail business. He is very interested in our company's selfie stick. He hinted to me that it might be a good deal. Let's go. Liang Xiao wanted to agree, but then she changed her mind. She said, I won't go. You go. Since Zhang Sun is matchmaking, it won't be very troublesome. I can't help much if I go. Go, sister. Just accompany me. I have never been to KTV, and I don't know how to sing. I will be very embarrassed if I go alone. Charlotte said. Liang Xiao said, it's awkward if I go. Why? Charlotte said inexplicably. Liang Xiao's dimples inexplicably turned red. Are you stupid? Zhang Sun is a playboy. If he goes to KTV to sing, will he not invite a woman to accompany him to drink and sing? You guys are a bunch of men, and I'm a woman there. Won't I be embarrassed to death? No way. Why not? Zhang Sun knows my relationship with you. He didn't invite me. He must have thought of this. If I go, it will be bad. You go. Liang Xiao was a straightforward woman, but sometimes her mind was quite meticulous. Charlotte touched his nose awkwardly. I really didn't think of it. Well, I will go alone. Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte. None of you men are good. Charlotte smiled bitterly. Sister, I'm going to talk about business. You know I'm not that kind of person. You will also learn to be bad. Last night, you did such a bad thing to me. Do you dare not admit it? Charlotte felt that even if he jumped into the Yellow River, he would not be able to clear his name. Okay. I know you're not that kind of person. After talking about business, leave. Don't stay in that kind of place. If there is a woman sticking to you, just say that you are sick. Charlotte, Liang Xiao's face turned red again, but she did not forget to say, those women are very dirty. Don't touch them. If you touch them, I will ignore you. I asked you to go with me, but you didn't go. Of course, I won't touch those women. I promise, you can rest assured. Charlotte said. Liang Xiao's face turned even redder. Who am I to you? Why are you promising me? Charlotte was also very embarrassed. Liang Xiao reached out and helped Charlotte straighten his tie. You should go quickly. Don't let others wait for too long. I will call a taxi back. Be careful on the road. Charlotte warned her and walked to the office door. Liang Xiao suddenly stopped him and said, If you have time, help me buy a pair of stockings. Charlotte looked back at Liang Xiao. His expression was as if he had seen a spiritual creature. It was a little scary. Liang Xiao said with a red face, You wet my stockings. You don't want to accompany me? You want me to say it? Just thinking about it makes me blush for you. Charlotte was stunned for a few seconds before he nodded. He wanted to explain. He especially wanted to say that it was actually her who wet his pants. But after thinking about it, he dispelled this idea. He actually understood her intention. She asked him to buy stockings for her because she wanted him to leave the KTV earlier. At least, there was an excuse, right? Watching Charlotte leave the office, Liang Xiao was stunned for a long time before she said, Idiot, you are so smart that you can learn everything. But why don't you learn how to pick up girls? That was true. Xiaolei was good at whatever he learned, but flirting with girls was his weakness, and he had never seriously studied it. After leaving the company, Charlotte drove alone to Yilai Xiang KTV. Before he parked the car, Lu Xing saw him and walked toward him. Charlotte got out of the car and greeted him with a smile. Hello, senior brother Lu. Lu Xing grinned. You don't need to be so polite. My boss is waiting for you inside. I will take you there. Charlotte followed Lu Xing into Yilai Xiang KTV and said casually, Master is going to participate in the dance competition. Do you know about it? Lu Xing was surprised. I don't know. This is a big deal. I will talk to Master later. I also want to participate. I don't have time. Otherwise, I will accompany the old man. Senior brother Lu? It is better for you to accompany master. But will Zhang-san give you leave? Charlotte said. Lu Shang said, no leave? At worst, I will quit. It's just a job as a bodyguard. There is nothing to cherish. He patted Charlotte's shoulder and said with a smile, if I don't have a job, I will come to your company. You will at least give me a department head position, right? Charlotte said with a smile. As long as you come, you can have any position you want. This is what you said. Don't lie to me. Lu Sheng looked very serious. I won't lie to you. Really? Ha. You are indeed from the same sect. Good. No wonder Xiao likes you so much. We have nothing. The whole world can see it. Only you idiot can't see it. Forget it. Let's talk about something else. Lu Sheng's secret love for Liang Xiao was not a secret in the Wing Chun boxing club. He felt uncomfortable talking to Charlotte about who Liang Xiao liked. The reason why he wanted to go to Charlotte's company was because Liang Xiao was there. If he liked someone, even if he couldn't get her, as long as he could see her every day, it was also a kind of happiness. But in Charlotte's mind, he kept thinking about what Lu Sheng had said just now. The whole world knows, but you don't. This sentence was like a stone smashing into the lake of his heart. A wave of waves rose, and he could no longer calm down. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.